Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Monday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. The guy who scored the game winner Saturday night, Justin Danforth, going to join us coming up at 9:17. Austin Ward at 10:30. We will blitz the weekend at 11. Steve Mears, play-by-play voice of your Columbus Blue Jackets, going to join us at 11:30. And what do Shane Gillis and I have in common? Apparently more than I ever would have guessed. We'll get to all of that over the course of the next three. But I did want to start here. Mid-'90s, there was a jam band out of Charlottesville, Virginia, that was called the Dave Matthews Band. And they were kind of popping when I was in high school, and you'd hear it a little bit. And it was something, that's pretty, Ants Marching stuff. That's pretty catchy. There's something to that. And then in August of 95, me and some buddies were fortunate enough to get tickets to see them play at Red Rocks outside of Denver. And so we made the long trek down, and went to see Dave Matthews Band at Red Rocks. And there was an appreciation for them and maybe something that was a little catchy until you saw them live. And then it went to an entirely different level. It was one of those things where talent, timing, and exposure all kind of hit at the same time, and it exploded for us personally, and then they exploded in the mid-'90s in terms of what they were for guys like me who were in college around that time, in high school, finishing high school and in college around that time. They were a pretty quintessential band during that time. But the key to it, though, was the idea of seeing it live and taking full advantage of the exposure that you were given. And I think in a way, that's what happened here on Saturday night. I think it was a little bit like Dave Matthews Band at Red Rocks. It was this wasn't a hockey game. It's one of 82. It's not a hockey game. It's so much more than that. And it doesn't work if the storm isn't perfect. If you've been to one of those outdoor venues and seen a rock band play, especially one at the peak of their powers, whether it's the Gorge in Washington or Red Rocks, or there's other amphitheaters, natural amphitheaters around the United States you can see them play, it just hits a little different when it's in that stage, especially if they have the ability to take full advantage of the venue. This doesn't work if this Blue Jackets team isn't what it is. It doesn't work if you don't have this precocious young talent that's coming. It doesn't work if Zach Werenski hasn't elevated himself to a Norris candidate and potentially somebody who's going to get some heart votes. It does not work if they don't win. It does not work if they're not in the mix. It's a one-off. But what it was the diehard hockey fan. It was the people who were curious about what this was all about. All of it coming together in a perfect storm, in a monster venue, and it all was perfect. The lead-up was perfect. It was chilly. You guys were there. We'll get your thoughts on that. Certainly was chilly. But it was a perfect storm of an organization that's been around a quarter century, that's been trying like hell to find its way, that's done everything right as an organization. Every single thing right in terms of treating the way they treat you, the fan, the way they treat the player. The venue is pristine and perfect. All of the things that you would want, it is, except for the one thing that matters most. They haven't been good. They really haven't been good. But they're good now. And they're sustainably good now. And so there is something about the timing of the exposure, the talent of the franchise, the results, the players who are here, and it all came together. And so for people who were curious about what's all of this about, well, now you know. Well, now you know. And my hunch is that much like the Dave Matthews Band in the mid-'90s, this is a wave that just cascades. And I think what felt like a little bit of a Blue Jackets storm absolutely could become a tsunami at this point. I think this bandwagon is ripe to be jumped on. I think that there is no doubt that the amount of success that this thing had can propel this franchise forward. And I think the most important part of all of this is the franchise is ready to be propelled, probably for the first time ever in their existence, Reese.
As we're sitting there on Lane Avenue doing the pre-game show, I just remember looking over to Baker and saying, this is the start of something big. And I didn't just mean for the team, but I meant and by team, I mean hockey players.
Yeah.
But team, I also mean franchise.
Yep.
City, I also mean Columbus.
Yep.
The idea that most of the people listening to this know who the Blue Jackets are, probably don't know all of the players. You know what Ohio Stadium is. And it culminated Saturday night into one of the greatest things I've ever seen with my own two eyes. And I was so privileged and fortunate to be one of the 94,000 plus in that stadium. It wasn't as cool as Tyvus's experience because he got to watch his first Blue Jackets, his first NHL game with everything that surrounded the before, during, and after the actual on-ice product. But this was a coming together of a sport, of a city, of a fan base, of people in a way that I hadn't seen before. And it was an incredible experience. Oh, and they won the hockey game that they didn't play particularly well in.
No, they stole the hockey game. Go ahead, Bake.
Bo, you know how excited I was looking forward to this event, and I knew that the city and the Blue Jackets fans would show up for the game itself. I had no doubt about that, and we'll talk about this a little later too, but to see Lane Avenue packed at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. in the afternoon, to see the line along the French Fieldhouse to get into the St. John Arena for the pep rally, or prep rally as Boone Jenner called it. I mean, it was amazing to see, and it was awesome to see the Red Wings fans, because in sports, you've got to have something to root against. You've got to have something to root against just as much as you have something to root for. Meet people down on Lane Avenue that drove in from Canada, had no rooting interest in this game, drove in from Canada just to be a part of this. Everything except for maybe the chilling cold for people who were out in it was perfect. And one thing you know about people that put events on like this and see the success, they want more success. They want more money, and I'm sure the NHL made plenty of it on this. Stuff like this will be coming to Columbus more and more because of this.
It doesn't work if you don't win. It doesn't work if you're not ready for it. It doesn't work if you're not in the thick of the postseason race. It doesn't work if you don't have this precocious team that seems like a year ahead of schedule. None of it works. It's a spectacle, sure, but this isn't spectacle's baby stuff alongside of what this could be. They're ready for the moment. They've waited a quarter century to get to this spot, and they're ready for it. They're primed for it. They have a roster that's good to go. They're going to go on a 4-game road trip, and they're going to be forgotten by some, certainly. But as long as this thing stays together the way that it is, and they keep building the way that they are, this is just the beginning. It was the perfect storm. It was the perfect storm of appetite for something like this in a city that is a boomtown, a Midwestern boomtown. And it's a franchise that's finally ready to carry it, that has the talent on the ice to do it. If you're not a good hockey team, it's a one-off. It's a curiosity. It's something to do in early March at the shoe. But because they're ready for it, because they're a year ahead of schedule, maybe more, because there are superstars building on this roster, because of all of those things, it can be something so much more. It's not a one-off. This is the beginning of something truly special for the franchise, for the team, for the city, for these players. This is, when they talk about Blue Jacket DNA, I just think this is a seminal moment we are going to look back upon and say, wow, remember that and what it led to. There's absolutely no doubt about it. This thing, coupled with the Four Nations, the timing, all of it, it's clicked in the biggest way possible, and it's special. It's special. If you've been around here a long time, if you grew up here like you two did, or you've been around here for 15 years or so like I have, almost 20 years like I have now, this was a special night. Justin Danforth scored the game winner. He's going to join us next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, people are officially going crazy over our sleek, black framed windows. They change the entire look of a home.
Leslie, nobody believes that just black frames can change the look of a home.
It's like when Superman put on his black framed glasses and became Clark Kent.
Wait a second. Clark Kent is Superman? Are you messing with me right now?
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family, get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or you're better yet, call 380-208-4544.
Breaking. Never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
You're invited to Circle K's Inner Circle Members Celebration. On March 6th, Inner Circle members across Columbus will get an exclusive 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. Want to join the party? Just download the Circle K app and create an account to join Inner Circle. Don't miss your chance to save 40 cents off per gallon on March 6th all day. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit the Circle K app for details.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. If you love a good pie pie analogy.
Think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Just an incredible Saturday night in Old Columbus Town. Jackets beat the Wings. The man who potted the game winner joins us now on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, Justin Danforth. Justin, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got a team meeting. We'll make sure you get out of there. Plenty of time for that, my friend. Take me through Saturday from your perspective.
It was just a crazy experience from even Friday and then getting into Saturday with the pep rally and walking on stage with OAR. And just the support all day from our fans, and then you get into the game and there's 95,000 people screaming. Just a crazy atmosphere and a fun game to play. It was an experience that we'll never forget as a team, and even our families too. It was awesome.
Justin, it's got to be such an interesting thing from your guys' perspective because it's one of 82, right? It was just a regular season game. This no gold medal on the line, nothing like that. It's a regular season game, but it's so much more. How did you guys balance? You just played these guys on Thursday night, got a big win up there. You're in the middle of this playoff race, and at the same time, not being overwhelmed by something that felt like it was so much bigger than it's just a game on the schedule.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's obviously a weird perspective, but I think we kind of leaned on our veteran guys like JVR, and who's played in 7 or 8 of these already, and he kind of just said the whole message in the room was, hey, like let's not we deserve this and our fans deserve this, but let's enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's 2 points is our biggest thing right now, especially when it's against Detroit. We're chasing them. Obviously, we won. We jumped them, so we had to stay focused, but we had to embrace it too, like use the energy. And I know for myself, in between TV timeouts, I just took a second to take it all in and just look around because it was an amazing atmosphere. It's something that you dream of growing up as a kid to play in front of a crowd like that, and it was amazing.
Justin, what were the conditions like down on the rink?
It wasn't bad actually. I'm a guy who doesn't have a shirt on underneath my gear, so I was a bit worried that I'd get a bit I'd freeze my butt off out there, but it wasn't too bad. The game gets going, your adrenaline's flying. The wind in warm-ups was a bit of an issue, but the wind kind of died down, which was huge for us. The ice actually was great. They did a great job with the ice. So it wasn't bad. I mean, the glass is a bit smaller, so there's little things. The game was kind of a bit more simple. Guys just kind of getting pucks out because the puck was bouncing a bit. So it was you had to adjust a little bit, but it was actually surprisingly pretty good.
Justin Danforth scored the game winner on Saturday night, and he joins us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I made the point in the opening segment of the show that this doesn't work to this extent if you guys aren't where you are. And this team has come so quickly this year, and everything, obviously the incredible tragedy of the offseason, but also these young players stepping up and maybe being better quicker than some thought. I do think it's really critical that you guys are in this mix. I do think it's critical that you guys won. I do think it's critical that you are a team on the rise. If those things aren't there, is this one different on Saturday? And you've been here, you know how long these fans have waited for this type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we've had young guys step up all year. We're probably the tightest team I've ever played on. We've been through a lot together, and I think that's a big part of it, of just playing for each other. But like our fans deserve this. We have I think we have the most passionate, best fans in the NHL, and they've stuck by our side through some low times here, and now we're figuring it out. We have young guys, Fantilli, Veronica, Marchenko, Elvis is playing big. You got Monahan, Boone. Like we really have a lot of pieces to make a run. And I think it's all about just making sure we stay humble and stay focused and be a consistent team, so we can give the fans and what we deserve.
This is a hell of a time for the sport too, my friend. When you think about Four Nations and all the momentum that came out of that, the way that you guys are playing, now you go on a 4-game roadie. How do you make sure that you ride this wave and that this wave turns into a tsunami, if you will?
Yeah, I guess, our schedule coming up is tough, but in the NHL, there's no easy games, but I feel like when we play our game, I know it's cliche, but we play our game, we play simple. our skill will take over. We'll get those offensive looks, but it's important for us just to keep our style of play going, especially when you're going against these top teams like Tampa and Florida. You really can't. Your game has to be so detailed, and that's what we have to do to give ourselves the best chance of winning.
Justin, how aware were you of the amount of people that were around that stadium by 2:00?
I'm probably not too aware, honestly. We I think we met at the rink around 3:00 at Nationwide, and then we bussed over as a team. But on the bus over, it was we were starting to realize how big this game was. We knew it was big, but just seeing all the fans out there, the jerseys, and then we're pulling into the pep rally, and it's like, I've been to Ohio State football games, and it's that energy was crazy when I go and watch, and to be able to be on the other side of it and be playing was it was pretty cool. It was something it was amazing.
Justin, what does it say about Columbus as a hockey town?
I think people are starting to understand that this is a hockey town, and it's been a hockey town for a while. I mean, they've done a great job with building the game here, and our fans are, they're blue collar, passionate fans that want a winning team, and you can tell how much they love this team, and it's a big part of us how hard we're playing for them and giving them what they deserve. But I think Columbus is getting the recognition now that it deserves, and it's good to see.
You guys got Tampa, Florida, Rangers, Devils. That's a stretch.
Yep.
That's a stretch. Give me kind of what Sunday and now into today, and I got a team meeting in a couple of minutes. This is big boy stuff. Trade deadline coming. This is big boy chase. Go. Let's go get after this thing stuff. What makes you believe that you guys are ready for what's coming?
We've beat some great teams this year. We've played against these top teams, and we've taken the game to them. So we're going to go one game at a time. We got Tampa, and get off to a good start against Tampa, and then just kind of roll into it. And it's good. There's no easy games in this league, so we're going to be pushing.
Were you able to enjoy it all, OAR and 21 Pilots and all that stuff?
We've got one song OAR.
That's all you got. Yeah.
But I could hear 21 Pilots a little bit too, so it was pretty cool.
Hey, man.
It was cool to meet those guys too. They're great guys. So
nice getting the game winner in one like that, one that's going to be remembered forever. Thank you for your time. Get to your meeting. I don't need Dean yelling at me.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, there he goes. Justin Danforth scored the game winner on Saturday. It's the timing of all this, fellas. It's the timing of all of it that works. It's if I really mean it. It's a one-off. It's a curiosity. It's that's a cute little thing that happened on a Saturday and 90,000 people. That's what it is if you don't win. That's what it is if this team and this franchise isn't ready for it. That's it. They had a huge surge. Porty was texting me in the break. They had a huge surge of tickets in the last month leading into Saturday. That goes to my point. Some of that's a little bit about Four Nations, but a lot of it's about you have a very, very relevant hockey team in the mix. Our standard here, there is it's a plus and minus of having Buckeye football. It's a plus and minus. And I want to get into that side of it too, that marriage of Buckeye football and Blue Jackets, because I do think it's really important. We'll get to that, a little bit of that coming up at 9:33. But the Ohio State football sets a standard that if you don't win 9 out of 10, we're not going to pay attention to you. And it's not even a Blue Jacket thing or a crew thing. It's a Buckeye basketball thing. It's everything. Like, if you are not elite, the standard for our attention in this town is elite. And if you're not there, you're playing in a closet sometimes. And if they weren't in this spot, if they weren't ready to ride this wave, if they did not have this precocious young talent, if they didn't have those things, this would be a cute little thing on a Saturday. It'd be a one-off. They have a chance for it to be so much more. And the reason for that is because of where they are as a franchise.
And now it's 9:25 and Danforth's in the meeting. From my vantage point, it looked like he whacked that Red Wings defender before he scored that goal. Like, I was down in A-deck. I'm like, oh, wow, he kind of got him there, but
Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't care.
I guess watching on the
he did. Of course
watching
he did.
after the game, I forget who was doing color for that game, but he made a good point. Is like if the player isn't injured, they're not going to stop play for it. And I was reminded of a time. This was years ago when Zach Werenski took a puck to the face and got a ton of stitches. And when he was down on the ice, and I think it was against the Penguins, they didn't call anything. And then it might have been a couple games later, Sidney Crosby goes down, and everything stopped.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's the double standard, but it was good to see the Blue Jackets not have to deal with that Saturday.
It was a high stick for sure, but I don't care. I don't care. We have been on the other side of those a billion times. This franchise has. This is a franchise with 25 years of negative puck luck, for God's sakes. They're due.
Outside on a pond, you're not calling that, so it doesn't get called in an outdoor game. And there might have been a little hook on the other side of that, too, helping cause all of that. It's funny that you talk about the timing, Bo, because I asked Bob McGilligan on Saturday about that. And he thought it was an interesting question, and he thinks that it's right. And we just look at this franchise right now, and we talk about rolling this momentum and how this franchise is set up. They're in the best spot that they've ever been.
Yeah.
And I remember you had the playoff series in 2014 with the Penguins, and momentum started to pick up for this franchise. And then they dropped off a little bit. You bring in Torts then, and you have your longest run of success that you've ever had. Then you have that Tampa series. And this was as much of a hockey town as I had ever seen it before. And then the next year, you get to the qualifying round and you beat the Maple Leafs and you have the series with Tampa. But
in the bubble.
That was in the bubble. It was COVID. And not only was it in the bubble, Bo, but it was in August. And we're not thinking about hockey in August. We're thinking about football. And then you had the struggles. The team dismantled. The guys went away. Jones left. Bob left. All of that. PLD. And you had the couple down years. And the momentum kind of got stalled a little bit. Now you've got a chance with all of this to roll this into another 4, 5, 6 year period of really good hockey. And it might be the chance for this to really, for the Blue Jackets to really take a foothold in this city and really gain more fans and keep those. They've always had the diehards, but to get everyone involved, this is a chance. This could be the start of a magnificent run for this franchise.
It reminds me a little bit about when Nashville made that run with Shea Weber and those guys and Pekka Rinne, and they made that run. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, Nashville, Hockey Town, USA. Okay, let's go. And then what started happening? People wanted to play there, right? That's the tsunami you want to create and ride out. That's where they are. As a franchise. It was a beautiful Saturday night that I think can be the start of something so much bigger for the franchise and truly a seminal moment for the franchise. Some other views of what happened on Saturday night, and where does this team go from here? Fellas, it's March 3rd. We got a trade deadline at the end of this week. There is a lot going on in the hockey world. We'll get to it in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Get your yard game ready with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Ego has nearly 200,000 5-star reviews from homeowners like you. Ego delivers the power of gas, but without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Best of all, Ego 56-volt arc lithium batteries are universal, so they fit all 90 tools. Power your yard. Power your tailgate. Power your life. Learn more at egopowerplus.com.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league. It's sharp and it's electric. How is it sharp? How is it electric? Good questions. Try this on for size. 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime, forcing, playoffs on the line, golf. With 24 of the best players from the PGA Tour. Split into 6 teams. Atlanta, Boston, Jupiter, LA, New York, and the Bay. This isn't your average Sunday pickup game. Tune in every week for TGL matches, only on ESPN. Keep up. It's golf.
President's Day savings all month long at your main Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy flexibility in one of their sharp, reliable, awesome vehicles. I'm confident Rich and his team can tailor a lease that's right for you. Like a 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive for $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
At NJM Insurance, we're like a symphony. It all starts by doing the right thing. Add in dedicated reps and put policyholders first. But no jingles or mascots because it's just not us. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Monday. Jackets with a monster Saturday night, getting the win, critical. This place they are as a franchise, critical. Where they go from here, critical. I also think it was really important, fellas. It's always seemed to me that it's always been a little bit of an uneasy relationship between Ohio State and the other franchises in this town. But that ice has thawed dramatically in recent years. We saw even from the debut of the Crew a couple of weeks ago, you had Carnell Tate there as the match igniter. You had the same. It wasn't. I think Caleb Downs was there too. But you had those type of things where you're starting to see that partnership between the thing that is always going to matter most in this town. But there's plenty of room. And that's the thing that I thought was really cool. I thought it was really cool to see Sonny Styles out there with a national championship trophy. I thought it was really cool to see Top Gun Ted out there on the puck drop. I think it was really cool how the Blue Jackets and Ohio State football had cannons and Buckeye leaves, the block O around the rink, all of those things. It was the first time that not the first time, but we're seeing now an ability that this is a big enough town that is, quite honestly, a Midwestern boomtown, full stop, taking full advantage of all of its powers at the same time. And that was really cool to see on Saturday. I thought it was a nice marriage, everything from the skull session that happened with OAR to 21, the whole thing, like they just hit the right notes on all of it. You guys were both there. You guys both grew up here. I don't recall a moment where there was so much synergy between Ohio State and the big professional team of record.
Well, no, it had been a frosty relationship since Nationwide Arena and the Schottenstein Center, where both parties wanted something and then one party did not want something and went out on their own to build the something. And to this day, we still lament that something that was built despite, I think, the best interests of both organizations. But this was, I think, really important that you had Top Gun Teddy out there for the ceremonial puck drop. I think him and Ross Bjork, at the helm of this, the kind of thawing of relations between the two, and that you have from Ohio State a partner that's willing to do what it needs to be done to get that game at Ohio Stadium so that the Blue Jackets, a world-class organization, can put on a world-class event like what you saw. Like it was, as Baker mentioned, as you heard from Justin when we had him on a couple minutes ago, that Lane Avenue filled up like a Buckeye game day. It felt quiet early, but you saw some tailgating out there. I think my boots hit the ground at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and there were a couple cars tailgating for it. But when you got to 2 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock became 3 o'clock, it was like, are we doing hockey, or is Ohio State about to play some football? Because it had that feel, it had that energy, and that's really a tip of the cap to everybody involved in getting this together, because that's the kind of big picture thinking that just hadn't existed when it came to the Blue Jackets and Ohio State.
And you're right, Bo. It seems like, I don't know, the last handful of years that relationship has started to thaw a lot there. And I think moving forward, especially in an NIL world we live, and we have Ross Bjork, who seems to be on the forefront of that stuff, he's going to want to try to use this partnership, I would think, as much as he can to help drive dollars to Ohio State in this new form of college athletics. It was very cool to see. And you know what? The fans, they want that partnership as well, because you saw the Red Wings fans that were there. Mm-hmm. Some of them were in Michigan gear. They played up that part of that. We had people walking by with signs. It's been so many days since Ohio State has beaten that team up north, and Tyvus was sitting there giving the thumbs down to the Red Wings fan and the Michigan's fans. And it was just such a cool thing to see. And there is, Bo, like you said, there's room for both to coexist and have a warm partnership.
Yeah, it wasn't lost on me, the idea Werenski, Fantilli, Johnson, like they're all Michigan guys. You know,
it had to be Detroit, right?
It had to be, yeah. You saw the comments from Larkin about how this is the ugliest stadium I've ever been in. Like,
yeah, he's not allowed to talk bad about the shoe. All right, maybe we can sometimes, but not you, Dylan Larkin, Wolverine, a Red Wing.
Yeah, and apparently the NHL brought in their own speakers and stuff and lights and all of that stuff. Do I have that right?
I mean, there were definitely a lot of extra speakers, a lot of extra lights. And so I figured, I was like, well, that had to come from somebody. So I think the NHL brought their Four Nations production and several trucks to work out what was more than a hockey game. What was a 21 Pilots performance that featured pyro, that had fireworks to begin the game, that had fireworks to end the game, that had, I think, I don't know the plane model, but there was a flyover with a plane and two jets. Like, this was a big boy production. And it crushed.
And, Bo, Reese can speak to this more because he was out in the crowd. And unfortunately, I was in the press box, and they did not have any windows open because of the temperatures. So I missed out on some of the ambiance of the game and whatnot. But they brought plenty of, I guess dynamite's not the right word, but they bought plenty of stuff for the cannon. They said it was going to be extra loud. They put 10 times the amount of normal charge in the cannon that they do for Nationwide for this game, and they said it was loud.
Confirmed. That was that was the most fun 20 minutes of hockey I've ever seen in my life. And, of course, everything around the game made it so, but that cannon was so damn loud. So Matejchuk scores, I think he draws first blood, and that place erupts, and you can hear the cannon through all of it.
And that may have been the only hiccup of the whole night, right? Was when they scored the second goal, the cannon didn't go off.
I don't know if they were ready. Reason. It was something. Again, we didn't know a couple of times when there were some snafus. I mean, this was everybody's first time doing this. Like, we weren't told why it was a 40-minute wait, from the scheduled time to actual puck drop. And then it was Veronka. It was the power play goal that they had scored. I don't know if the person, maybe their fingers were frozen. It wasn't on the button, but there was a delay.
What was, how did they communicate with you guys the delay in the puck drop?
None. From the fans in the stands, we got 20 minutes on the clock. The 20 minutes went down to 0. There were a couple minutes of no clock, and then 20 minutes popped up again, and it went down again.
Yeah, so this is one of my great annoyances. The idea that they try to shoehorn college basketball games in a window of time that it can never, ever hit. So at 6 o'clock, okay, at 6 o'clock when we were supposed to go live, and I think the puck drop was probably 6:12 or something like that.
6:38.
No. Intended.
Oh.
Yeah, intended puck drop was like 6:12, 6:15, something like that.
Yeah, 6:20-ish, I believe.
Okay. So they were going to get you the pomp and circumstance, the lead up, puck drop, 6:20, announce the two teams, so forth and so on. So we're watching. The NHL Network did a great job of broadcasting like the lead up to it. And I instantly regret not going. I just had a long week. I was over in Indy, and I'm like, do the boys want to be in the cold? Like, I knew my wife wouldn't want to be in the cold, but as I'm watching, I'm like instantly going, God, I should have went to this thing. I really should have. And but when at 6 o'clock hits, ESPN is showing Tennessee, Alabama basketball, guys. There's 8 minutes left in the game at 6 o'clock, and you go, well, what are we doing now? Like, these basketball games don't fit in this window. They don't. So sort it out and give them more time with all of the damn timeouts, the TV timeouts, the clock stoppages. Takes them 2.5 minutes to shoot a free throw, all of this stuff. They never fill. This isn't just a hockey problem. This is a problem when they do Big Monday and all of that stuff. They want that second game to start at 9, but it never starts at 9, ever. Because and it's an ESPN thing more than anything else. Like, they just don't ever fit in those windows. Other than that, I thought that their coverage was excellent. Meredith Gaudreau in the second intermission. God bless her. God bless her. And the courage. I cannot imagine that. I don't know. Like, I wonder if she knew, if she had an ability to see that the Red Wings were all wearing various versions of Johnny's jerseys on the entrance. I just can't imagine that. Wearing his parents' hoodies from Avalon, like all of that stuff. That was such a big part of it as well. And we saw that in the Four Nations with the chants of Johnny Hockey. Like, just everything and is really nice. They crushed all of it. God bless her. God bless her strength, because she is a beacon of light, man. And that, I just can't imagine. I was thinking about this morning. Like, you have these incredible things, these emotional swings of the high of that, but also the incredible heartache that's hanging over you always. And then you wake up on a Sunday and you're right back to, raising your children without their dad. God bless her.
I don't know how she got through that interview, right, with those guys in the intermission, going back and watching it after the fact. There was a ton of emotional moments with Johnny and all of that. Obviously, her and the kids and his mom walking the team out. You mentioned the jerseys and the sweatshirts, what both teams wore walking into the stadium. At one time, there was a big Johnny Gaudreau, number 13, like jersey type flag going across to the stands. I think that twisted up before it got to you, Reese, but it was on its way to you. But the thing that got me the most, Bo, was walking in the locker room after the game and seeing her right there in the doorways of the locker room with still some tears in her eyes. Just the emotion, and they get the win, and just so happy, and Monahan and Gabranson there by her being such close family friends. That moment right there was pretty emotional and touching for me. Just seeing her standing there with those tears, it was pretty, just the emotions were there. And you heard it in Dean's voice afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
He was so emotional. Like, throughout the entire day, it felt like. Anytime you saw Dean Evison or heard from Dean Evison, like, even when the game goes final, he's chest bumping everybody. Yeah. It was some destiny, fate, I don't know what you want to call it, put my girlfriend and I with a ton of Red Wings fans. But they were so gracious when the team came out led by Meredith Gaudreau and the kids, and it all felt like everybody was it was a lot of love. And it was it was such a cool and powerful moment throughout that. I missed the thing in the second intermission because the lines, but just coming up and hearing about it from the Red Wings fans who I was sitting next to, like, everybody did such an amazing job of showing love for everybody.
I did get a text from a former teammate of Blake Wheeler's at Wayzata High School that it was, quote, elite. So if he's saying he was in the building, elite. So if he's saying it's elite, I think we can all say it was elite. A special Saturday night in Old Columbus Town. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
When you buy from Pella, you could meet Brad, Bob, maybe Mike, or 54 others that make our local Pella team so awesome.
And if you buy from me, you'll get to meet me.
Just a one-man operation, Wilson?
I've got a bunch of cousins helping me, but based on their work, I'm not sure they've got thumbs.
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, CARE is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Rothman and Ice.
It's more evidence that you need to subscribe to the rule Bobby and I subscribe to.
What's that?
If you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Want to know anything about the Fan's contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Reese, how are the sight lines for you? How much of the action you were A deck, right?
A deck, yeah, right near where Ohio State, or right near where the Blue Jackets enter the field. So 28A.
Okay.
Not great.
That was the thing I was curious about. Like, I'll tell you, Bake, how about you? You were press box. How did that? Were you able to? Was that all good?
Yeah, you could see everything up there. It was fine, especially. You know, it's obviously higher up than the press box at Nationwide, but I'm used to being up there. So, yeah, you could see everything.
I always tell people my favorite place to watch a Blue Jackets game is the press box. You can see everything from there. When you're that high up, you actually can see most of the ice all the time. The television sight lines were great. It broadcast very cool. It looked very, very cool. How was the sound on 21 Pilots?
They were tremendous. Like, they sounded really, really good. It was
they're unreal.
Their drummer was playing in a T-shirt. I mean, he's flailing his arms. But then they had the one thing I wish about that game. So 21 Pilots goes the first intermission, and they had a bunch of pyro. And I was wondering, like, can they just do pyro throughout the game?
Yeah.
Like, the cannon goes off, and they hit the pyro again. It is my philosophy in life, I think, that you can never have too much or enough pyro. There's always a place for more pyro. But they were great. Like, they played all the hits. Like, no need to, hey, here's our new music. Like, no. You got age ranges from 5 years old to 95 years old at this place. It felt like just play the hits, man. And they did.
I thought Tyler was unbelievable. I mean, this is Tyler Joseph's unbelievable lead singer. I mean, he's born here, like it's just an awesome thing. Like, can you imagine? I mean, you could see the juice in him in the performance. I mean, it was off the charts. He's bouncing around like to be at a one-off like that, a kid who goes to Worthington Christian and then finds 21 all the success that they have, and then it just had to be just an awesome experience. Now, my kids were convinced that he had tattoo all the way his neck, all the way on his arms. Like, I don't think that's it.
I think it's thermal gear.
So it is painted on him, but it's not. They're not tats. But yeah,
I thought it was like a turtleneck, a Under Armour turtleneck, because I was wearing one of those. I'm like, no, he's got what I got on.
It was paint all the way up, and then his hands, because his hands were painted too. But I thought they crushed it. The whole thing was a home run. It was just an absolutely awesome Saturday night, and it was part of kind of an awesome sports weekend, save for the Buckeye women who lost to Maryland on Sunday. But the Cavaliers, in a game I know you were locked into on Friday, Reese, they were down 25-5 to the Celtics. Jason Tatum is yelling to get the blank out of here, and then they won.
They won that game. That's without so that. To the point made earlier, like the DeAndre Hunter acquisition, makes that the difference. But Evan Mobley and the step that he's taken this season. But with JB Bickerstaff, they lose that game. Like, they no-show the rest of it. And that's the Kenny Atkinson difference, in my opinion. Because now I think you're starting to see there was some experimenting with what to do with Hunter. Now I think they know, start the man. But
yeah, they
50
no
wins,
Porzingis, no Porzingis in this one. So the Celts were down a couple of guys, but to be up the way that they were and to battle back and to actually win a game against Boston, so they have split the even series, what I thought was equally as impressive, and I'm sure this one got lost because this was on a Sunday afternoon. They hosted Portland yesterday and were down the whole game. Huge. And they played terrible. I mean, Darius Garland was absolutely awful in this game. And they come back to win in overtime in a game that you want to talk about pushing your chips in. That's just one of those, hey, this is one of 82. We'll see you next time out. We beat Boston. That's a nice weekend. We'll see you on down the road. And instead they fought back and beat Portland in overtime, 133-129. They're now 50-10 on the season.
It's pretty incredible. Like,
that's a pretty good job. So that was good. And then the Crew are 2-0 to start the year. All we do is win around here.
City of Champions.
I think Shark said this morning on one of his updates that the Cavs have 3 double-digit win streaks this year.
The Portland win makes it 10 in a row for the Cavs. They'll look to make it 11 straight, playing Chicago tomorrow. But they started the season, I think, winning, was it 15 or 18, and they went on a 12-game win streak, and then there's this. Yeah.
This is the first time in franchise history that's happened.
Well, there can't be a whole lot of franchises. There can't be that many teams in NBA history who've had multiple double-digit win seasons. Yeah, I mean they were down huge in this this whole game.
Getting bombed.
They fought back and won in one where you could just push the chips in and say we'll see you, in Chicago on a Tuesday. And I'll be honest with you, like all of this stuff, the Cavs stuff on Friday. Obviously the Jackets game was the headliner on Saturday night. Like all of this saved, and otherwise, I mean, folks, this should not be in the brochure for early March. 20s, low 30s. This is not what we need. This isn't it. I mean, this needs to be, and I know we're going to warm up. I think tomorrow it starts to warm up, and probably by the end of the day today it starts to warm up a little bit. But like, this is not in the brochure this has been the worst winter that I have ever had since I've lived in Ohio by a wide margin. And the idea that I'm staring at a March and it's like I'm walking Buddy Garrity last night and I'm going, God almighty, like how long am I dealing with 24s? Like I'm almost want to wear shorts in defiance of all of this.
You should do it, Bo. Join the bandwagon over here.
I'm in them right now.
But it was, and it's crazy too because it was like 54 on Friday or whatever it was, and it wasn't bad when I got down on campus Saturday morning at like 10. But there was one point, it was one segment of our show on Saturday. I swear, in one segment from start to finish, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. I looked at these guys and I was like,
What is going on?
They thought I was making fun of them, but I was not. I was like, did it just get like 20 degrees colder all of a sudden? I don't know what happened.
Reese, how'd your lady friend handle? What was her thoughts on her first ever hockey game?
It's cold.
And then the cold.
So she came through big with it. Like, she would get my Coach of the Week award if not for the Blue Jackets winning this, and it'll go to Dean Evison. But she brought the assist with hand warmers, and they became foot warmers for the game and blankets, so that we were able to actually be kind of warm in the stands there. But she loved the whole thing. And for the sight line from where we were sitting, like, you couldn't really follow, but you could see it kind of on the big screen, and you can hear it when the cannon goes off. Oh, they must have scored a goal. So I think there was a lot. It was sensory overload a little bit at the beginning. But certainly the atmosphere, she was thrilled with 21 pilots. Like, it was an A+ for her.
Yeah. It was an A+. A+ for the city, A+ for the Jackets, A+ for Ohio State, all of it. Knocked it out of the park in what is a weekend I think we'll remember, quite honestly, for a very, very long time. And as the week continues now, if you are the Blue Jackets, what's next? We'll play some audio in terms of the trade deadline and what they could do. Elliot Friedman was on with Rothman and Rims on Saturday. We'll have some of that for you coming up at 11:20. Coming up next, not an ideal weekend for Will Howard at the NFL Scouting Combine. I think I know why it happened. We'll get into it coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Uline is expanding in Ohio with a 1.4 million square foot building, and they're looking for exceptional people to get this location up and running. The company has seen decades of growth, creating a stable work environment employees can count on. Warehouse workers earn pay starting from $25 an hour, plus substantial bonus programs and great benefits. They also offer multiple shifts and schedules to fit your life. Check out current Aetna job opportunities at uline.jobs/Ohio.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here with Matt and Catherine. They made the decision to lose weight and improve their life together. Both dropped 33 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss.
She came home so excited one day and said, I heard about Awaken 180. I'm so excited. You have to try it with me. It's not medication. It's not a shot. It's food. You're going to make meals. And I think that was one of the biggest selling points.
What makes Awaken 180 different is the maintenance program. Just to know that you get that support gives me the confidence to keep going. I think it's important for people to know how much more fun it is to do it with a partner. Just to have the support system, it's so much more helpful.
It's going to change your life.
Thanks, guys. Like any goal, accomplishing it with someone sharing the same goal makes it twice as easy and twice as rewarding. Grab a coworker, friend, or spouse and make your 180 with the solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Insulate your next project and save big money with Knauf fiberglass insulation at Menards. From cut to length rolls to pre-cut bats and blow-in insulation, Menards has everything you need to get the job done while adding comfort and energy efficiency to your home. Plus, you can add even more savings with federal tax credits on qualifying energy-efficient upgrades. Check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards. My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
It's the limited time tax sale. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, plus no interest until 2030 and an extra $500 off only in March. Call them today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now, you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do? like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The NHL trade deadline is this Friday at 3 o'clock. Blue Jackets could be buyers this week. If you missed it over the weekend, former Jackets defenseman Seth Jones was dealt from the Blackhawks to the Florida Panthers. CBJ are in Sunrise on Thursday to battle the Florida Panthers. Jackets will play the Lightning tomorrow night in Tampa. Columbus beat Detroit 5-3 this past Saturday in front of 95,000 at Ohio Stadium. They take sole possession of that first wildcard spot in the East with the win. CBJ begin a 4-game road trip, having won 4 straight. In college hoops, the 12th-ranked Ohio State women's squads wrap the regular season. They'll play this Friday in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. The men's tournament is next week in Indianapolis. Ohio State hosts Nebraska tomorrow night at 9. Hear more from Ohio State hoops today at noon on The Jake Diebler Show. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa Platinum credit card. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Austin Ward coming up at 10:30 as is customary on a Monday. Did you guys watch any of the Oscars last night?
No, I saw the Sandler stuff.
That was very funny.
Floating around last night and this morning.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't even know the Oscars happened last night.
That was the easiest bet on the bingo card ever. That you had no point of reference on the Oscars being last night.
I didn't even realize it. I was all hockey this weekend with the Stadium Series, and then going over to watch the Eric Reeser's Upper Arlington Golden Bears move on to a Frozen 4 next weekend.
God.
Then I was just worn out, so I had nothing for anything else last night.
They say death and taxes are the only things for sure in life, but the Upper Arlington Golden Bears making the Frozen 4 is one of them.
Well, they're going to be pretty good at the sports that...
Well, you know.
Hockey and the lacrosse and those things. They're pretty good at those things, typically.
You say you need resources for some of those?
Resources help in those
Easy.
sports, certainly, yeah. I got wrapped in... I was curious how Conan would do. I've always enjoyed him. I thought he crushed. I thought they put on a hell of a show. I mean... Again, this is a year where I hadn't seen any of the Best Picture ones that were up for it. It just none of those hit for me the way that they used to. And this is a relatively new thing, but I thought Conan crushed it. I thought the presenters crushed it. They did a really cool tribute to James Bond and all of that. So I thought that part was really cool. It was crazy seeing Kieran Culkin win Best Supporting Actor. Now I hadn't seen the movie that he was in, but you think about him winning an Emmy for Succession and then winning an Academy Award. He gave a great speech. That was very cool. So I ended up watching all of it. We watched all of it. My wife was into it, despite the fact that we hadn't seen the movies. And it got me thinking, when is the last time that I saw a Best Picture winner in the year it was released? So here's the list. Anora won Best Picture. Nothing. Oppenheimer, obviously I know what it is, but every time I look at that rundown of the runtime of it, it's over 3 hours. I'm like, no. So I hadn't seen that. Oppenheimer 1 in 2023. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't have a point of reference on that at all. That's in 2022. Coda in 2021. I got nothing. Nomadland, nothing in 2020. I don't remember. I don't even know what that is. Parasite in 2019, nothing. Green Book 2018, nothing. Shape of Water 2017, nothing. Moonlight 2016, nope. Spotlight, finally. Spotlight I saw. That one I saw in 2015. Have you guys seen that one? That's the one about the Boston Globe and the investigation into the Catholic cover-up of the priests with the sexual abuse scandal. That's unbelievable. If you guys both journalism guys? You were, Reese, right?
Oh, it wasn't a serious one, I guess.
You should watch that one. If that comes on, that's incredible. So Spotlight 2015, saw that. Birdman, nope. 12 Years a Slave 2013, nope. Argo 2012.
Didn't see that one.
Was it good?
That was really good.
I didn't see that. The Artist 2011, nope. The King's Speech 2010, nope. Hurt Locker 2009, Slumdog, No Country for Old Men, finally, 2007. I remember seeing that in that year. And then it's a stretch where I saw almost all of them. It's Departed, it's Return of the King, Beautiful Mind, Gladiator. So something has, and I don't know if I'm atypical or if this is what's happened with the movie industry, where it almost feels like prestige TV took its place, and that people water cooler watch prestige TV way more than they watch prestige film. But there's a stretch in the 90s where you would have seen all of them. Titanic, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Schindler's List, Unforgiven, Silence of the Lambs, Dances with Wolves. Like, you saw all of those in the moment.
When was the last time your kids asked you to go to the movie theater?
Bootsy, Mario, the Super Mario movie, like 2 summers ago.
There was a Super Mario movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It is funny how that has all changed. Like, it used to be back in the day, if you were going on a date, you were going to the movies.
Going to the movies, yeah.
Almost always. And I think, like, literally, I'm trying to think of the last movie I saw at the movie theater, what it was, and I feel like it was like Iron Man 2 or something. It's been forever since I've seen a movie.
Top Gun Maverick for me. That was the last one I saw in the theaters. I
Is that any good?
Didn't see that. Yeah, it's quite good. Did you have? What's the last one you saw in the theaters, Reese?
No idea. I'm trying to think about it.
Can't remember. Yeah. No, it's changed, and it's certainly our habits. By the way, even in real time, when you would think about taking going on a movie for your first date, always seems silly because you're just not going to talk for 2 hours. Like, how are you going to get to know somebody when you're sitting in a movie theater? Yeah. So anyway, it was interesting to watch that last night, and again, there were people that were familiar, and you saw it. But Conan was really great as the host. They put on a good show, even though I had no point of reference on the movies or what they were even about, quite honestly. The Combine concluded this weekend over in Indianapolis as well. I mean, it's just the real truth. Will struggled. He struggled throwing the ball a lot. I understood why he threw. I'm also not too surprised at how it went. When I heard the anecdote from Pat McAfee that Will at like 11 o'clock at night on a Thursday was in a parking lot throwing the ball, I just think he was overcooked. I think he was overcooked. I think it's human nature that if people tell you over and over again that you don't have the arm strength to play at this league, to truly drive the ball, the natural inclination is to prove them wrong and show them that you can. And when I watched his throwing session over the weekend, what jumped out to me was it looked like a guy who was pressing. It looked like a guy who was trying to prove that he could spin it with incredible velocity. It looked like a guy who was trying to throw it hard. And if you're throwing a football, if you're throwing a baseball, if you're doing anything that you're trying to hit a golf ball, if you're flexing and trying to throw it hard, it usually derails. And I think that's what happened to him. I think he just was overcooked a little bit. And I think he'll have a chance to get right with his pro day here. This isn't some sort of death knell for him, but it definitely is a hit. You can't ignore that it's definitely a hit to the way that the NFL is going to view him. And I think that there was a lot to gain if he would have thrown well. I think there is a little bit to lose in the fact that he didn't.
Yeah, I wondered if it would just been better off for him to go to Ohio Stadium and watch the Jackets and the Red Wings. It's a weird thing for me because I'll just defer to a guy who's done the NFL Combine before.
Yeah.
In that really the most important thing are meeting with the teams and the physicals. That your on-field workouts can help, but it's the tape that people keep going back to. And if I'm going to go back to Will Howard's last 4 games at Ohio State, that tape's going to do more for me than a couple throws against air. If he can make big plays against defenses like, Texas and Tennessee and Oregon, nobody expects him to be, a first-round pick, but people expect if he can land in the right system, he can do some good things as a suitable backup for the next decade.
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders even came to his rescue, tweeting over the weekend. This was yesterday. I don't understand why y'all hating on Will Howard. He just won a natty. It's hard to throw to wide receivers that you don't know. Everyone runs routes differently. Yeah. That was magnanimous of Shedeur to do that. But it's one of those things where I just don't know. And it's a television show now. I don't know the benefit of anybody throwing at that. Because if you talk to personnel guys in the league, most of the analysis of a quarterback especially, and really any position player, it's 90% tape. So the tape will speak for itself, and it's probably one of those things that's just there's not a whole lot to gain from it. And there wasn't much for Will. A couple of other guys did very well. Our 2 running backs, Trey and Quinn, they both were great. Travion Henderson ran a 4.43 in his 40, 4.48 for Quinshawn. So he flew as well. That is really getting it done. I saw some people having Judkins, and some of his other athletic feats were just off the charts. But Judkins and Trey could be playing themselves into second-round picks. Trey maybe even could be an end-of-the first-round guy. I do think what people saw with Saquon Barkley at the running back position this year, look, it's a copycat league. Not that these guys are Saquon Barkley, but all of a sudden you can see the value of having a running game again. And it's more affordable to have a running back than it is to have a wide receiver. So I think the NFL is going to start viewing running backs as weapons, not as running backs, but looking at them as weapons, the way Christian McCaffrey, Barkley. And I think that's where we're kind of headed in the league is if you can get a weapon back there, you get one.
And you mentioned Barkley there. I've heard a lot of people start comparing Travion Henderson here through this combine process to Jahmyr Gibbs and what he brings to the Detroit Lions, kind of saying that he could be on par with that. You also saw the meme or the gif or whatever of Mike McDaniel seeming very impressed when Travion run. And one thing that they love in Miami is fast running backs.
Yeah. I heard that with Jahmyr. Jahmyr that dude is elite. So, yeah, all of those things benefit those guys. All right, the NFL had a big business weekend as well. We will get to that coming up next. Austin Ward coming up in 18 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've lowered prices. You can save 15% or more on hundreds of items like Thomas Mini Bagels, Campbell's SpaghettiOs, and more. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At NJAM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because It's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
That's are us. When dreams don't end, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't end, that's are us. Every day feels easy.
You're invited to Circle K's Inner Circle Member Celebration. On March 6th, Inner Circle members across Columbus will get an exclusive 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. Want to join the party? Just download the Circle K app and create an account to join Inner Circle. Don't miss your chance to save 40 cents off per gallon on March 6th all day. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit the Circle K app for details.
He opens his toolbox before he opens his wallet and believes you can fix anything with 20 minutes and some pride. He's Mr. DIY, and when he needs metal, he goes to metal supermarkets. Artists, hobbyists, machine shops, maintenance professionals, and welders all count on metal supermarkets for over 8,000 metal products, shapes, and grades. If it's metal, they've got it or can get it for you. Cut to any size and ready fast. Visit the family-owned franchise on North Wilson Road or Columbus at metalsupermarkets.com.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community. Except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station. Except Bo. The Fan.
There's endless possibilities. There's billions of books out there, so there's no limit to what I can read.
The reasons why I love reading is because I get to see different perspectives of other people's lives.
Reading age-appropriate books by diverse authors with diverse viewpoints opens the world for young readers and helps them find their own voice. Join the Ohio Education Association in celebrating Read Across America all year round to help create a nation of diverse readers ready for the future.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a quiet day today, sunny with a high of 44. Clouds roll in this afternoon. Cloudy tonight, low 34. Cloudy tomorrow, high 58. And then heading into Wednesday, tracking showers and thunderstorms with a high of 60. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 75 years. NFL Scouting Combine came and went. We always talk about the consensus that comes out of it, and we'll get to that in terms of the way that I think most everybody views the quarterbacks at the top of this draft, but also the business of the day. We had this at the end of last week that Matt Stafford would restructure with the Rams. That caused a pivot for the Giants in terms of what they are thinking at the quarterback position, probably a pivot for the Las Vegas Raiders as well. We did have our first major trade that occurred in terms of coming out of the Combine. This one actually happened during the Combine. Deebo Samuel traded to the Commanders for a fifth-round pick. It's funny, let's play the role of like my kids when they hear this. They can't wrap their head around that's all you get for Deebo Samuel. But the reality is that his injury history, especially most recently, contributed to that. The other thing is the Commanders have to pay him. And this is the thing that NFL teams really have to juggle this time of year. And even if it were more possible for the Browns to trade Myles Garrett than it is, the get back, I don't think it's going to be what you think it's going to be, because you have to then compensate him. And so you have to find a team that can pay him what I think is probably going to be upwards of $40 million a year, that has room under their cap to be able to do so, or has ownership that is liquid enough that they can transition it into signing bonus on multiple restructures the way that the Browns have. It's really hard to move talent in this league because of what happens in terms of the contracts and the cap. So that's what the get back. 5th for Debo. You go, God, good for the commies. Yeah. Rookie quarterback, man. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I was kind of surprised, but then I thought about the conversation that Reese and I had last week when you were over in the Combine, Bo, and how I just don't think Browns fans are going to be happy with whatever they get back for in a Myles Garrett trade if they do that, because it's just not going to be as much as you think. I also think it was kind of ironic that last year it was Brandon Ayuk going to the Commanders because of the relationship with Jane Daniels. Now it's his running mate, Debo, going there instead.
It kind of felt unfair that the Commanders get the potential for the kind of production you think when you hear Debo Samuel. Like, you don't. The first thing you think of is, wow, that's a playmaker, another playmaker for Jaden Daniels, another playmaker to help out alongside Terry McLaurin. Like, that all feels unfair. But then you think about the injury history, and I agree with you on the Browns thing. First off, Browns fans are never going to be happy at all anyway. But I think with the Myles Garrett thing, it for me as a Browns fan, it just feels so important that you try to get the best thing possible for the team, and whatever that looks like might be a little disappointing. But the moving on, I think, is the most important thing for me in that sense.
Yeah, it's always with, I've said it before, it's just going to be so difficult to try to move him. As I've explained before, when you restructure those deals, it almost makes it impossible to trade those people, because when you restructure, the idea is, well, we're never going to trade them. They'll always be there when we pay that salary down the road, and the cap will continue to grow and grow and grow, and so it'll never be something that ever hits home. I do think that the Giants' pivot will have a local impact potentially on the Browns, because if the Giants, we had this on Friday, that if the Giants have pivoted to Aaron Rodgers, one of the things that kind of came out of the weekend was that that would not preclude them from taking a quarterback at 1, that they may also do that there. So that is something to watch for sure. And I would just say this, if I'm the Cleveland Browns and I like one of these quarterbacks, even 5% more than the other, and the consensus coming out of the Combine was that Cam Ward's ceiling is higher, and significantly so, maybe higher than Shadour's, but that Shador is a little bit more polished and a little bit more plug and play. Well, if you like Cam Ward 5% more than Shador, then you just go to 1. Don't sit and wait. Don't sit and wait and have to react to whatever the Giants are going to do. And furthermore, if you're Tennessee, if the Giants are willing to do that, then you just simply call Cleveland and say, what are you willing to do? And you just get the best deal for your franchise. Heck, the Titans could trade it twice. They could trade 1 to 2 with the Browns, and then trade 2 to 3 with the Giants, or trade to 6 with the Raiders, and still probably get the guy that they want. So the Titans are in a little bit of a catbird seat. If you feel the familiarity in this, you should. 2016, it was the Titans at 1, and it was the Browns at 2. And the Browns, the people in the front office at that time, liked Jared Goff more than they liked Carson Wentz. In fact, they felt that really only Goff was somebody that they would draft that high in the draft. And they allowed allowed the Los Angeles Rams to go all the way to 1 and take Goff, and then that's what led to them trading out of 2 to the Philadelphia Eagles, and then they took Carson Wentz. So that's the thing that, to me, you can't let happen if you're the Browns. Jeremy Fowler had a report Sunday in regard to the quarterback position. People I've talked to expect Daniel Jones to be on the Browns' radar along with Kirk Cousins if he becomes available. Though, surprisingly, not every team official is buying that the Falcons will just cut him outright despite the significant money owed to him. Another name to watch here is Carson Wentz. Yeah, all of those names check boxes in terms of they are people who are upright and can throw a football, but I don't think that any of those would preclude them from taking a quarterback at 2, and I think they're going to take one at 2 irregardless of what else they do in that room.
Yeah, do both. And then maybe think about acquiring another football thrower either later in the draft or via free agency. Get both Wentz and Daniel Jones. You need more than just 2 in a quarterback room. So I just think it was really funny. Like, it all comes back to Carson Wentz, doesn't it?
What a weird career. I mean, that guy, when they won the Super Bowl, he was the MVP favorite before that injury, and then never really recovered. I don't know if physically never recovered or mentally never recovered.
Both.
Yeah, I remember I was doing the show with Threes, and we had Chris Long on years ago, and we asked him about, because at that time there was all this talk about Carson. He was kind of weird in the locker room and kind of a different dude, and Chris was like, I loved Carson. He's a great dude, but he just never could recover from that. It's almost like that injury, well, not almost like that injury derailed his whole career.
Yeah, he had a great year that year, and they win the Super Bowl, and all you remember is Nick Foles, because he was the guy that took them there and got it. I think it's pretty interesting that that's one of the things that I was really looking forward to seeing in that last game of the year for Kansas City was him playing. And they really didn't throw the ball much, and nobody played in that game. So they did not have a great roster out there, and Denver had a lot to play for still. But you just thought eventually, some point, he was going to resurface, almost like we've seen with the reemergence of Sam Darnold this year, that eventually he was going to land in the right spot, and it was going to click and work for him, and it just hasn't.
Just have a listen to these, these seasons when he's been like the full-time starter, Wentz. And I'm not trying to sell anybody on him. Hasn't really played a full season since 2021 as a starting quarterback. Rookie year in Philly, he goes 7-9, 63% completions, 32-82, 16-14. In 2017, that's the year he went 11-2. Guys, he was only I don't know that anybody recalls this. He just completed 60% of his passes that year. 32-96, but 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. He finishes out, plays all the way until his age 28 season in 2020, then ends up in Indy. The 1 year he was the full-time starter in Indy, he went 9-8. The Colts went 9-8, 62%, 35-63, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Is what he did. That was all the way back in 2021. Then he started 7 games for Washington in 2022. And then that's it. It's done at that point. He was third in the MVP in his second year in the league. Third. He was the second-team All-Pro quarterback. And then it just evaporated. It's crazy how things can happen. And I'm sure it just comes back to that injury. This was never the same following that injury. All right, Austin Ward in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Hoops fans, are you ready to score big and get lucky this March?
What's up? It's T-Bone. I'm here to tell you that Bud Light will be holding mini hoops challenges at bars and restaurants across town over the next several weeks with one goal in mind.
To send one lucky local winner to Las Vegas where they'll compete for $10,000.
Take your shot at March Madness glory. This week, join Bud Light on Thursday night as they take over Pastimes Crosswoods on Campus View Boulevard. They'll be there from 7 to 9 p.m.
And have a mini hoops basketball challenge that'll give you a shot at a Vegas trip and $10,000.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
He knows everything about the Buckeyes. He's been offered tens of dollars by a certain team to spill his secrets. He's told that certain team to go to hell.
Damn you all to hell!
He's Austin Ward.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. More life, more energy.
Did you happen to go to the game on Saturday, the hockey game?
I did not. Really thought about it, really wanted to, Bo, and then my folks came in for my birthday weekend, and we were kind of keeping half an eye on the forecast, and it was like, you know what, maybe being around Columbus and watching it on TV could be the move for us. Now, the environment looked amazing. I'd been in there a couple times before Saturday to see some of the progress and hear them talking about it, and I knew I was going to regret not being there. But when we were walking around, the neighborhood in the afternoon and just feeling the sting of the air, we were kind of glad that we weren't there after dark.
Brisk. It was quite brisk. You've been around a long time. I've been around a long time. It feels like in the last 4 or 5 years, there maybe even a more recent time frame than that, there's been a real thawing in what I think at some point, not contentious, that's too strong, but almost kind of a standoffish relationship between the athletic department at Ohio State, specifically the football program, and the pro sports teams of record in this town. And I think about what's happened the last couple of weeks, whether it's Carnell Tate as a match igniter, we've had obviously, and then to have the Top Gun Ted drop a puck for this game at the Shoe. It feels like we're in the best spot we've ever been in the relationship between Ohio State, especially the football program, and the pro sports of record in town.
Yeah, and Will Howard did put on one of the new sweaters for the Jackets last week. Had Sonny Styles involved with some other guys with the Blue Jackets, and it's going to sound like being a prisoner of the moment because you had 90,000 people in the Horseshoe watching the Jackets and the crossover between the Blocko and helmet stickers and all the cool things that they did to integrate and share with each other, and that's been happening for the last couple of years with the crew as well. So I don't want it to sound like hyperbole and right now, but I feel like there's just something really cool about being a sports fan in Columbus, Ohio right now. It's helped that there is a national championship. The Jackets are making a run that nobody expected, and people have been going to Nationwide even when they were struggling. It is still one of the better barns, I think, in game day experiences that you can have in the NHL. Again, I'm biased, but that was true even when they weren't winning, but now they are, and they're really fun to be around. And a lot of those guys, I think about, Boone Jenner, and that spills over into, the Memorial Tournament and everything blends together, and there's a lot of, crossover and carryover and investment, I think, in the community. And some of it becomes good-natured. You've got, guys from Michigan on that Jackets roster that, they weren't going to put on the scarlet and gray on Saturday, but I think that even adds to it that there's some investment, around the Big Ten and around the Midwest. But I just think we're kind of in the golden era of being a Columbus sports fan, and championships for the crew, championship right now for the Buckeyes. Like it's really fun, and I'm really glad to be in the midst of it right now.
I think it's the winning. I think winning.
Well,
I think it's just that, like the football always wins. It does. It has it's like the one thing you can count on in the state of Ohio for 100 and some years. So like they always take care of it. But I think that's the thing that's really hard. I think sometimes we see it with Buckeye basketball. I think we've seen it sometimes with the Blue Jackets outside of that diehard base. The Crew have been really a model organization for a long time, but they had to deal with all the pre-court stuff. But like that standard around here of like, we're not really going to pay attention to you unless you win 9 out of 10. I think that is so. They had to reach such a standard of winning to reach beyond the diehards, and they are now.
Yeah, and I think the other part that you asked about before I rambled, Bo, was like, has Ohio State recognized that they don't need to view the Bengals, Browns, Blue Jackets, Crew, whoever has competition. I would say that has changed over the dozen years since I've been here, where it was like really competitive. And even when, it was 7-8 years ago, maybe, when the Browns came in and played or had a scrimmage in the Horseshoe, it was like, boy, we had to jump through hoops, and like you can only do this on this day. You're not coming back again. It did feel like there are benefits for Ohio State to reaching out there and bringing those teams in that works in every direction, because in this era especially, you need to have some awareness of your athletes and your brand, and that's not to say that the block code doesn't have that already. Of course it does, but the specific players and getting them involved with, there is no downside for them to have them out there. And not all Crew fans go to every Ohio State game or know who they are, and to put a face and a name together with that, I think there's value for being out there in the community. And I think that even when you take that beyond just being involved with the Crew or the Jackets or the Bengals or Browns or Reds or Indy or Guardians, opening up some of the practices that they did in training camp and having people into the Woody during the spring, it's not even just about opening it up to the other pro organizations. It's about opening it up to the fans. And I think that has added some investment. And I think this is going to sound way too harsh, but like there was just always some level of arrogance that came with being Ohio State and the level of importance that brand naturally has. And I think they've shed some of that over time. It's not the work of one person. It's not the work of 10 people. I think it's over time and a better overall plan for presenting Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics to the rest of the community, and recognizing that people don't have to choose just one thing, especially in Columbus right now. You want to feel old, buddy? That was 10 years ago when the Browns came. Yeah. Wow. That does feel. I guess I should have thought about that. Terrell Pryor was there. That was a big thing. That's a long time. That felt more recent than that. My goodness. We're old. We're getting old, buddy. One thing I wanted, when you have something like this at the shoe, then some of the warts are shown too of that building, and I've been pretty vocal about it. And I know it's hard. I think it's one of the most difficult jobs Ross Bjork has to, in a long list, a long punch list of difficult jobs. One of them is he's got to find a way to modernize that. When you talk to people around the program, you talk to Bjork, you talk to the boosters, you talk to fans, all of that. What are the important things that need to be done first at the shoe? Boy, and what's the appetite, I guess, too? Yeah. You talk about a punch list. I mean, at the last time Herm and I sat down with Ross Bjork in December, and that's at the front of his mind. I mean, if you have NIL and roster and national championship being 1A, then putting people, it's tied in directly. You can't fund the roster. You can't do NIL if you're not going to keep 100,000 people in the Horseshoe. And even to narrow it down, there's so many things that people. I hear fans all the time talking about. The bathroom lines and the stairs. And I've been in top of C deck, for a concert, and it gave me a much greater appreciation for the 40, 50,000 people that do that 7, 8, 9 times a year. That is, it made me, it wore me out and made me feel sick climbing some of those stairs. So, and there's not going to be a solution that I know of that you can fix to being high up there in C deck and dealing with the stairs. But, I think modernization of the concourses, there's not an easy solution. And I see this, and sometimes I thought about it when I was walking around at Spartan Stadium last year, where they've made an emphasis on it, but you can't. The bones are the bones. The same thing at Beaver Stadium. Like you're not going to be able to fix some of these things that were erected to let you build up to 100,000 in the first place. So. I don't know the solution, and I can't come up with one. But I know that there is absolutely an appetite to do that for Ohio State. But figuring out the right way forward is not as easy as just throwing down a blueprint for a new stadium, because you're trying to upgrade and modernize at the same time. You can't just shut it down, and you can't just go play somewhere else for a year or 2 years or 3 years the way that Northwestern is doing. Like that's that's the easiest way forward. If you were able to just go build somewhere else, which is what the Crew were able to do with Lower.com when they moved out of historic Crew Stadium. So, this is a long-winded way of saying Ohio State knows that has to happen, but charting a way forward. I don't think the financial piece is really a deterrent for Ohio State, and I don't think that they have a lack of awareness that there has to be newer. We were talking 10 years ago, Bo, and getting here, like, can you get Wi-Fi in the stadium, and then can you make the Wi-Fi work? Like, it's you pick one thing at a time, and they've done some of that with the club levels and then the lighting, and you're trying to do it one at a time without shutting down the horseshoe for any extended period of time. And I think you're absolutely right. And you've been talking about this and beating this drum for, weeks, months, if not years. Ohio State's not putting its head in the sand about it, but figuring out how to actually do that is difficult. And having events like this and Premier League coming into the horseshoe and Country Superfest, all those things, that all helps, because once you find the additional revenue streams and then you find out where the weaknesses are in the stadium, if you don't already know, then you can devote your resources accordingly.
Yeah, it's so complicated. It's a really difficult needle to thread. I'll get you out of here on this one. What's our timeline now? Obviously, a lot of the guys are on the cruise. Heard this morning, guys talking to Bob on the cruise. So I know that's out. That Caleb Downs was on with Bob this morning. But in terms of like the timeline going forward, when is your sense of when we're going to get a chance to hear from Matt Patricia, for example?
Yeah. I believe tentatively we're going to get that opportunity on Friday, Bo.
Okay.
We thought we were going to hear from some of the returning, or maybe not the returning veterans. We thought we were going to get some of the mid-year and transfer guys last week. The way that the schedule got adjusted because of the length of the season has kind of pushed it back, I think, a couple weeks. This would have been, tomorrow traditionally would be the first day of spring camp,
right?
But they got rid of that, and so it'll be at post-spring break, looking at the 17th for the start of practice. So we'll definitely have players by that point. But I think that Ryan Day, and then we're hearing maybe the entire coaching staff on Friday. I know that Jerry and the rest of the crew are working on getting that all nailed down, but they want to do that. They know they need to do that. We all want to hear from them. I don't know that the whole staff has to be available. We talked to them a bunch during the playoff run, but the new staff, we got to talk to them, especially Matt Patricia, Tyler Bowen. It'd be great to hear from Brian Hartline about what he views the rest of this year looking like. Of course, I'm not advocating for less access, but I really primarily want to hear from these new guys who are here, and I do think that'll happen by the end of the week, and then we'll have some new stuff to talk about next Monday, Bo.
Looking forward to it, buddy, as always. Thanks for your time.
You got it. See ya.
All right, there he is, Austin Ward, Dotting the I's, and the podcast on the Rivals Network on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is a Daily Show with Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. One of the favorite topics to bring up is the work of your student managers and all of the stuff that these guys do, Jake. I know that you and the players have to appreciate them each and every day.
So thankful for the group of managers we have, and there's a rich tradition in our program of having great managers. And they're such an integral part to what we do every single day. And, a lot of them love the game, want to go into coaching. And it truly is part of our family, that group of young men who have been, so good over just decades and decades of years of this program. So what they do on a daily basis, we're so thankful for and blessed to have them.
We have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's, Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Jake, on the subject of your student managers and all the things that they do, people might not realize, number one, a lot of these guys are really good high school basketball players. And number two, they play together and they play against other managers. And there's been some pretty good success over the years with this group.
Yeah, that when that started, the manager game started to take off. It was pretty cool. And, you know, it's a great way for them to network, but it's also, you know, a fun way to kick off, night before games. And sometimes you'll have players show up and watch, you know, the managers play. And then our managers, they do a good job of, you know, being available when the coaches need to get some reps in too. And we've had some good battles, coaches versus managers at times around practice. But we've got a great group of guys, and some of them certainly can play a little bit and had some good high school careers.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection, one that helps better their everyday through the things they value most: friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Saw this morning in the Wall Street Journal. Remember the ESPN Major League Baseball rights fees conversation we had about how they're basically free agents? Wall Street Journal reporting over the weekend, ESPN went to Major League Baseball and wanted to pay no more than $200 million a year at most for the rights to Major League Baseball. They were paying $550. So for all the talk about how Major League Baseball was like, yeah, we're not dealing with that, ESPN was like, yeah, we're going to pay about half. Not even half of what we were previously paying. So that's what led to that divorce. They actually pay about that for La Liga, for perspective. Crazy. All right, time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, guys.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Sunday, the 6th-ranked South Carolina women's basketball team claimed a share of the Southeastern Conference regular season championship with a 78-66 win over number 15 Kentucky. Also Sunday, the top-ranked Texas Longhorns defeated Florida 72-46. So both the Longhorns and the Gamecocks both finished 15-1 in SEC play because the teams split the season series. A coin flip determined that South Carolina would have the number 1 seed for this week's SEC tournament in Greenville, South Carolina. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey flipped the coin from Birmingham, Alabama during the halftime of an LSU game against Mississippi. The flip was broadcast on the SEC network. Thing or not a thing?
Good for them for taking advantage of something and broadcasting it. Like seeing Sankey flip a coin is pretty great.
Just means more.
Just means more. This is a real thing, and that this is where we're headed. When you have these super conferences, you can't play everybody. So it's going to come down to this, where there are no the tiebreaker system. It reaches an end game, and so I think this is how it ends up. I don't know how much it matters if you're the 1 seed or the 2 seed in the SEC women's basketball tournament, but I do think it was fun that they took advantage of it.
I feel like there's got to be a better way than a coin flip, though. I mean, isn't there something we can do, like points percentage or, outside?
I don't know.
Go to like the RPI or there's got to be something better. Let's do a free throw contest, something. I mean, better than a coin flip.
Well, that was true at Friday Night Lights. Remember, Billy Bob went out to that diner or the gas station or diner, and they flipped a coin for where they were going to play the game in Friday Night Lights. Like, they do that. I mean, it's kind of an old school way of doing it.
Over the weekend, Front Office Sports reported that Bill Belichick and UNC will be featured on off-season Hard Knocks after NFL Films couldn't find an NFL team to do it after that Joe Show debacle last year with the Giants. Thing or not a thing?
Here's what this is the thing I can't wait for. People who don't follow college football broadcasting loudly and screaming from mountaintops that this has never been done before, and that this is once again Bill Belichick NFLing college football. This has been going on for a decade, this type of behind-the-scenes stuff. Big Ten Network did it with the Buckeyes when Urban was here, probably in 12 or 13. There were teams that followed Alabama. There were a team that followed Alabama. Notre Dame's been followed by Amazon Prime. This theoretically would be different because it'll be NFL Films, so you'll get that type of access, which is pretty cool. But this has been done for a long time.
And I can't believe with Bill Belichick involved, you're going to get anything out of this that is going to make it a thing. Like, Bill Belichick has been fun here recently on his media tour and doing McAfee and all these other things, the Tom Brady roast, all of that. But I think when he's back to head coaching, we're going to get the same old Bill. We're on to Cincinnati.
Well, I don't know. He's got that young lady friend now.
She's kind of his publicist / agent,
yeah.
Also
like
partner.
He's in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with her. Like, it's crazy.
Good for him.
It's the new hip Bill Belichick. He's going to be cool with the youths,
I guess.
Will you see him do what Brian Kelly did and TikTok dance, or Dabo Sweeney,
Yes.
what he did, do TikTok dances with recruits?
Well, it's not working in recruiting. It's not working in the portal yet. So for all of the brilliance, they're going to treat it like an NFL organization. Yeah, well, Florida State did that. I'm sure Ohio State was doing that. Florida State was doing that in the early 2000s when I covered them.
Comes back to winning football games. The Timberwolves beat the Suns Sunday 116-98. Phoenix is 5 games under 500 and 4 games back of a play-in tournament spot. On ESPN yesterday, NBA insider Shams Charania provided an update to the Suns' plans in the postseason.
Unless there's a significant run here into the playoffs for the Phoenix Suns, league sources believe that there will be real changes in Phoenix coming to the Suns. And from a roster standpoint, that likely starts with Kevin Durant. And when we look back to the trade deadline, if we remember, Kevin Durant was blindsided when he was involved in trade conversations. But this offseason, from my understanding, what it would look like is the Suns and Durant would work together on any potential trade to a contender in a trade scenario. And I would expect 4 to 6 contending teams with some serious involvement in Durant. He's still playing at a really high level. He is extension eligible in the offseason, too. And as we know, with the Jimmy Butler situation, the extension plays a big factor. But everything with Durant hangs in the balance of not only the Suns and how they compete in the playoffs or not compete in the playoffs, but other teams, which teams get eliminated early, what teams could come about. A lot will come clear with Kevin Durant when we figure out what shapes up in the playoffs.
Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing for now. I don't watch them closely enough. I'm very curious why this hasn't worked. So that part I don't understand. I mean, you've got Booker, you've got him, and you've got who they just trade for from Bradley Beal from Washington. What's interesting to me, though, is Matt Ishbia, who bought the Suns and paid a lion's ransom for him. Reminds me, you remember Mikhail Prokhorov?
Isn't he Nets?
Yeah. So he was the Russian oligarch who bought the Nets and then was like, I want to win right now. And he went and gave up all of those assets to get an aging Paul Pierce and an aging Kevin Durant. They signed Joe Johnson to a crazy contract. They didn't win anything. And I think this is what happens. These billionaire guys, they finally get invited to the club, and then they've got to understand that they're impetuous. They want things done right away. And they kind of derailed what was kind of a fun build in Phoenix. Like, they were a good team built around Devin Booker and a playoff contender consistently. And that all got derailed once this ownership group took over.
Yeah, I feel like this is not a thing because I think, at least I kind of thought this was what was going to happen with them. I feel like Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant are all kind of redundant with each other. They're all kind of the same player, and there's no real difference in any of their games. Like, one of them's not the pure ball handler all the time and going to hit it to the spot-up shooter. It just didn't seem like it was ever going to work. It seems like everywhere Kevin Durant goes since Golden State, just disaster follows. And it's going to have to take the exact right situation for Kevin Durant to go to really make it work and fit.
Yeah. I think he ends up back in Golden State, probably.
I wondered if... But I said he didn't want to do that, though.
No, I think the reporting was that he didn't want to do it. He was put off that they approached him about it in the middle of the season. But I think he could end up back there. I think that'd be a full circle moment for him, kind of, to do it there, because it's not going to be in Oklahoma City. Like, their setup is too sweet right now for him to return there. All right, final hour of the program coming up next. We blitz the weekend coming up right now. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
Pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like those clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful.
Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese. 2 more games remain for the Ohio State men's basketball team before next week's Big Ten tournament. The Buckeyes host Nebraska tomorrow night at 9. OSU's 8-10 in conference play. That's good for 10th place in the Big Ten. Ohio State will finish up the regular season at Indiana Saturday at 3:45. Hear more from the basketball Buckeyes today at noon on the Jake Diebler Show. The 12th-ranked Ohio State women's team fell at Maryland 93-90 in overtime on Sunday. Buckeyes have a double bye in this week's Big Ten women's tournament. Ohio State won't play until the quarterfinals Friday in Indianapolis. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets begin a 4-game road trip tomorrow night in Tampa. CBJ owns sole possession of the first wildcard spot in the East thanks to that 5-3 win over the Detroit Red Wings this past Saturday at Ohio Stadium. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa Platinum credit card. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Monday edition of the program. Coming up in about 30 minutes from now, Steve Mears, play-by-play voice of your Columbus Blue Jackets, who's on the international call of the game on Saturday. He will join us there. We'll also hear from Elliot Friedman. He was on with Rothman and Rims on Saturday about what the Jackets could do at the trade deadline, which is just a couple of days away. Still obviously in the glow of the Stadium Series game on Saturday night, which went off absolutely perfectly, or as close to it as possible. Let's go ahead and blitz the weekend, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present the Weekend Sports Blitz.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, I believe I had that. What did you have, Bake?
Well, I mean, this one is pretty easy and obvious, right? But I think I had that the Stadium Series would not disappoint. And obviously, the weeks leading up to it, all of that stuff was great. The way they released the renditions of what we were going to see and the build-up, the pep rally / skull session, the Honda pregame on Lane Avenue was fantastic. Just all of this was just a home run for the NHL. The only 2 things for me that I think I could have done different. One was go to that media skate like we talked about last Thursday night. And then maybe, at least for a period, went out in the crowd and sat with Reeser to get some of that ambiance of the night and of the game, because you couldn't catch a lot of it in the press box, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's always tricky, right? Like sometimes for games they'll open, because you can open up those top windows there in the press box, but I'm sure at 24 what was it? It had to be in the high 20s by the time puck dropped. It was cold.
I think somebody said it was 28 or 29 at puck drop, if I remember correctly.
That's the only beat. I mean, 38 would have been, the 10 degrees would have made all of the difference in the world. That's brutal. And I said, man, like, this is not in the this should not be in the brochure for this time of year. The NHL would much rather have had it been that than have it be unseasonably warm, because then you have ice issues. But boy, that was pretty brutal when it came to the temps. Reese, what'd you have?
I had DeAndre Hunter. What an absolute home run of an acquisition for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the best record in the league at 50-10. He was big off the bench in their game against the Boston Celtics. It was without Kristaps Porzingis, but you got him to help better defend Jason Tatum. You got him to help better defend Jaylen Brown when Porzingis gets back for this. But this is your Eastern Conference Finals, kids. If things shake out like this, Cleveland, Boston. So you'll get Porzingis against the Cavaliers in that 7-game series. DeAndre Hunter was a monster when they needed him against the Portland Trailblazers yesterday in a game which they very easily could have just folded it in, but he had a huge 32 points. He had 7 rebounds against the Blazers. He had huge 5 rebounds against the Boston Celtics. That was the plan. The plans come to fruition, and you love it when a plan comes together. Let them know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do love when a plan comes together. I believe I had that we would crush this, and I'm not just talking about the Stadium Series. I'm talking Stadium Series in conjunction with the Arnold. Here's the thing that became abundantly clear to me when I moved to Central Ohio in 2007. This city is capable of so much more, and that when given opportunity, they prove it. And so that's NHL Draft, that's Save the Crew, That is Memorial Tournament every single year. That is President's Cup. That is all of it. That's a playoff game in college football for the first time ever. Everything that happens in conjunction with the Columbus Sports Commission, like how great those folks are. When given an opportunity on a big stage, this city just knocks it out of the bleeping park. And I knew they would do this that way as well, and they did. You could sense it middle of last week with the Arnold starting on Thursday, and then leading into this. Just crushed it. This is a hell of a time. It's a hell of a time, and when given opportunity, we knock it out of the park. I did not have that. What did you not have, Big?
This is a big shame on me, too, because I knew that the Jackets fans in this city was going to show up for the Stadium Series game. I did not know that Lane Avenue was going to be close to what you see on a Buckeye Saturday as early as it was. I got down to Lane Avenue at 11 a.m. There were already people down there. The Honda pregame did not start until noon when we went on air, but there were already people lined up getting ready to go into that. And as we went along on our show, as noon hit and 1 hit and 2 hit, just more and more people flocked to Lane Avenue, flocked to St. John Arena. I just did not see that coming. The Lane Avenue would be as packed as it was pregame, and I was damn impressed.
I did not have that I would enjoy a 21 Pilots show that much. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of their music. Like, it's the older stuff is really good, and I don't think I've listened intently to them in years. If it's on and I'm in a room or a restaurant where it's at, fine, but they crushed that performance in the first intermission. Like, it was freezing cold, and that was a great job out of them having enough pyro to give you a little bit of heat, but boy, the whole thing was cool, but I was really surprised how much I enjoyed them.
I did not have that Shane Gillis and I watched the same documentaries. So it was a little more than a year ago where I opened a show with a quote, and I used it as an analogy to get to the idea that Ohio State was going to take its other arm out from behind its back. And the quote was from a historian named Shelby Foote, who talked about how the South was never going to win that war, because if it ever got too close, that the North would just take its other arm out from behind its back and punch the South in the mouth. So I'm watching Saturday Night Live, and I enjoy Gillis a lot. I like Tires. I like his comedy specials. I think he's pretty damn funny. My guy uses Shelby Foote. He drops him in his monologue. He talks about the Ken Burns Civil War documentary in his monologue in 2025 on Saturday Night Live, and talks about Shelby Foote for probably 3 minutes, and about how he basically just made stories up in the documentary. I did not have that. I was not expecting that in my SNL monologue on a Saturday night. I also did not have that I would watch most of Saturday Night Live. Didn't. It was great. It was really good. And also identified the celebrity crush for all of the boys, and it makes sense, being Tate McRae, who dated Cole Sillinger. So it all comes full circle a little bit here. Player who impressed. Who you got, Big?
The man that you cannot see, we saw him all this weekend. John Cena, for the first time in 20 years, Bo, has turned heel. He is no longer a good guy.
Okay.
John Cena is a bad guy. He has aligned himself with The Rock.
Mm-hmm. And Travis Scott.
He put his foot right between the legs of Cody Rhodes and into his groin, and he is on the road to WrestleMania now to win his 17th championship all time and break Ric Flair's record, and he's going to do it as a bad guy. I had reminiscence of 1996 when Hulk Hogan was the third member and the NWO was born.
If it was that big of a wrestling moment.
Here's the other. This feels a lot like you had reminisced back to all the way Hogan. I mean, this feels like last year. Didn't The Rock do this last year?
He was a bad guy last year.
Semantics,
like flip and go heel?
But
doesn't this happen? Is this just last year's act?
20 years Cena has been a good guy.
Yeah. Cody failed, though, right? Like, this hasn't worked. Is that fair? Like his reign? Not failed too strong, but it hasn't been, I don't think, what they thought it was.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been what they thought, but this is going to be a great road to WrestleMania now.
All right.
I don't know if I can top that because that was the shocking. That's what I did Saturday or Sunday. Was realize like what John Cena did what, and so I went back and watched Elimination Chamber. Bobcats senior AJ Clayton had 20 points as Ohio beat Miami 75-66 over the weekend. Clayton's been terrific for this Ohio squad, who's 16-13 in Mid-American Conference play, and because it was so cold, they tipped off at 1:00 on Saturday, and my computer froze, so I couldn't watch it in real time. But that's a heck of a win for Jeff Bowles and company, and A.J. Clayton, a big part of the success this team's been having this season.
I'll go Merz-Lincoln's here. He was under constant attack. I mean, they threw so many pucks on net, and he stopped enough. And if he doesn't stand on his head, we're not talking about as much as we are today. It would still been a really cool moment, but you had to get the win, and he was the reason for the win with as many shots as he stopped on Saturday night. Player disappointed, Beck.
So I'm not sure if you can have someone that impressed and disappointed in the same week, but that is what we got this weekend from our guy, Tyvis Powell. It was so fun to see him put on Reese's old Blue Jackets sweater and do the pregame show with that. It was so fun to see him walk into the shoe and see that ice and get his reaction, which you can find on all of the fan socials from this weekend. The video of him walking in for the first time and seeing that, and then sitting next to him in the press box and watching him watch his first hockey game. However, our guy left after the first period.
Was it.
Him and his wife did not have good communication on this weekend. She had something to do. He had to go home and get her the car and get the kids. Shame on you, Tyvis Powell.
This kid's got too many jobs.
You needed to be there for the whole thing. And he didn't even get to see a goal. There was no goals in the first period,
goals,
so bummer.
Yeah, it was a lack of communication and preparation on his part. For the second week in a row, Eric Reeser, you absolute moron. I was unprepared for how cold it was going to be on Saturday and doing a 3-hour show. Thanks to everybody who brought hand warmers. I think it was Leo Welsh and family who had the largest bag of hand warmers I'd ever seen, but they were properly prepared.
It was huge
for the elements. I was also unprepared for the bathroom situation on Lane Avenue. Was at least to get to a stall 5 minutes away. Our commercial breaks 5 minutes. So I went back and watched myself on the YouTube chat, and I'm rocking for the last 2 hours of the show. And it was cold, but it was because I had to use the bathroom.
Player who disappointed everybody who 2 weeks ago, including Charles Barkley, who I absolutely love, who thought that it would take a while for Luka Doncic to figure out how to play with LeBron James. No, bozos. They're basketball supercomputers. It's worked great. The Lakers are currently the 2 seed in the West. They went from the 7 to the 2 in 3 weeks. They still have not lost, I don't think, with Doncic. Yeah, it's going the way that I think most of us thought it would, that the Lakers are going to be able to acquire somebody like that, and they are absolutely championship contenders. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. What do you got, Bake?
Cleveland Cavaliers coach Kenny Atkinson. That's the guy for me. This team is 50-10 right now. Their third 10-game winning streak, we talked about that. It's the first time they've done that. The only other teams to do that, the 70-71 Milwaukee Bucks, 80-81 76ers, the 1999-2000 Los Angeles Lakers, the 06-07 Dallas Mavericks, 11-12 San Antonio Spurs, the 17-18 Houston Rockets, and now your Cleveland Cavaliers. To have those two come from behind victories this weekend, damn impressive.
I'm going to go with Dean Evison here. For 60 minutes of hockey, your team was the lesser of the two on the ice, yet you still came away with a 5-3 victory in front of 95,000 people. The way they were able to hold their composure, the way he was able to, Dean Evison and Don Waddell were able to figure things out with Elvis Merzlikins, to have him playing since the month of December, the way he's been playing, and the way he showed out on the ice at Ohio Stadium on Saturday. It's a tremendous job out of him, and it was so cool to see him. Those varsity jackets they had on were pretty neat, but to see the emotions of him after that game goes final, of chest-bumping assistants and just being like a kid, the love for the sport shown out for a lot of those guys, and Evison was somebody that I was really thrilled to see get that moment.
A lot of credit to the folks with the Jackets, ownership, the front office. They deserved a lot of credit what they did with John Davidson the first time around when they hired him. He was exactly what they needed at that time, and Don Waddell and Dean Evison are exactly what they needed at this time. They pressed the right buttons on all of this. I'm going to go Top Gun Ted. I just like everything about the dude. I like the way he operates. I like how he handled the puck drop. I think he's to me, the only thing I can think of is like peak Gordon Gee in terms of what you would want representing the university. He is absolutely aces. A beautiful hire by the board, getting Top Gun Tedded here to run Ohio State. All right, well, what are the Jackets going to do at the trade deadline? What could they do? Elliot Friedman was on with Rothman and Rimmer on Saturday. We'll hear from that. And also, resolution in the ACC. Florida State and Clemson maybe not going anywhere now. We'll get you the details on that as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family, get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Open a money market account at Kemba Financial Credit Union and enjoy 4.40% APY intro rate until 2026. That's 6 times the national average. Get the flexibility you need with easy access to your funds. Don't miss out. Offer expires April 30th, 2025. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum and $1 million maximum deposit required. APY equals annual percentage yield. Comparison based on FDIC average. Federally insured by NCUA.
Every great team needs a playmaker, a secret weapon, an MVP, like Caster Connection. Our industrial casters and wheels give your business the ultimate assist, improving mobility, efficiency, and safety. Whether you're moving carts, racks, or heavy equipment, we set you up for the win. Don't get benched by bad wheels. Go to casterconnection.com to shop online or to work with our industry-leading caster solution specialists. Caster Connection keeps your business in motion.
The Fan has been ranked as the 2nd best sports station in America by our industry peers. Our heartfelt thank you is in order. But we're not doing it because we're better than that hillbilly Birmingham station that came in first. Thanks for nothing.
Springtime is here, and you know what that means. It's time for Mulch Madness. Did you know that too much mulch is bad for trees and shrubs? 2 inches of mulch is plenty. Any more and you risk causing roots to grow up and around trunks, which increases unhealthy stress, shortens tree life, and even keeps moisture from getting down to tree roots. To find out more about Mulch Madness or to find a certified arborist near you, visit treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a bright, sunny start to your Monday. Soak in the sunshine while you can because the clouds roll in this afternoon. Today's high will be 44. It'll be a lot warmer out there tomorrow. Cloudy with a high of 60. And then tracking some heavy rain Tuesday night going into Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, this happening in the last half hour or so. And this was really one of the big stories of last offseason and part of several lawsuits that were ongoing. There were 4 ongoing lawsuits between Florida State and Clemson and the ACC, and now that is going to be none of that is going to matter anymore because Florida State and Clemson are going to vote Tuesday on an agreement that would ultimately result in the settlement of those 4 ongoing lawsuits. The ACC presidents are set to vote on terms and new TV money distribution. So the details on this per Pete Thamel, 40% of the television money distributed evenly among legacy ACC schools, 60% by ratings-based formula over the last 5 years. Top ACC earners could net more than $15 million, while some schools will see a net deduction in the annual payment of about $7 million. Total cost to the exit the league is 20 to 30, is expected to drop to below $100 million by the year 2029, 2030. So if Clemson and Florida State want to exit the league after 2029, 2030, that cost will just be $100 million. What's funny about this is anytime we would hear Florida State get chesty about something like this, we'd be like, okay, yeah, write the check. Yeah, it was always ironclad, Reese.
This news is a shame to me because I was really enjoying every couple of months. Florida man would come out and be like, "We're getting out of there. We're going to do it." It's like you got $700 million just in one of your couch cushions, or how? Please let us know. Oh no, we're doing it. We're getting lawyers involved. No, that's great. That sounds wonderful. Like, let's keep going with this, Florida man. But cooler heads prevailed, and that's unfortunate.
You imagine being SMU, Cal, and Stanford, because now you're going to, like, Cal and Stanford are going to get less.
Does SMU even care about these types of things?
I don't think SMU cares. They probably don't care. But Cal and Stanford care. Cal needs it.
Oh, yeah. Cal needs it bad.
So you're losing upwards of $7 million a year in television revenue that was going to your athletic department, an athletic department that's in the red. Man, to me, that's a monster. It also sets a pretty crazy precedent, fellas, because the first thing I thought of was when this Big Ten deal comes up, are we sure Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, USC, whoever else drives ratings, are we sure that they're going to want to share evenly? It's the first time we've had this, where we have a major conference, and the ACC is still a major conference, saying we're going to pay these guys a little more because they deserve it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to. It'll be interesting. I mean, when did they say that was a Pac-12 school athletic director? It might have been San Diego State's guy who said they were going to have a media rights announcement coming soon. And so I wonder, with this kind of news, does that push those 2 schools back into the welcoming arms of the Pac-12 on the CW network?
I don't know. I mean, it's just further. It's just going to create even a bigger gulf than there already is in the powerhouses in the sport.
Doesn't this seem like everybody in this comes out with egg on their face? Because like Clemson and Florida State, if somebody wanted you, they would have got you, and you could have got out of there, and you could have been somewhere else, but nobody wanted you. And then if you're the ACC, you just kowtowed to their demands.
Yeah, well, yeah. I suppose it keeps it together for a little while longer.
That's all you're trying to do. Like, just hold on tight as long as you can. I hope
we can reverse engineer all of this and get a conference on the West Coast again, because when you talk to folks who just did that, I talked to Matty Andrews last week, and he was talking about, how long the women's basketball team was in California. You imagine the expense on that? I mean, I know how much it is to fly across the country. We're going to California at the end of the month for spring break. Like, I know what it costs me to get to Los Angeles and then to fly out of Palm Springs. What does it look like flying with however many people are in a support staff and team on a major college sports program to go play out there? And then the lodging, I mean, it's not like they're staying at a Motel 6. I mean, it's Marriott's.
It's not like
going to be nice hotels.
Eating what they can get from the continental breakfast thing. Like, you still got to hydrate and fuel these athletes per their normal schedules.
It makes no damn financial sense at all for anything other than football. And maybe we get to a point where Chip wanted to get to, which, to me always made a lot of sense, where football's different. Let football exist in its own, and then the rest of these things can operate the way that they used to. Traditional Big Ten, Pac-12, all of that. The Pac-12 is basically a basketball conference with its football teams playing in the Big Ten. It feels like that we've already crossed the Rubicon on all that, but that's probably something that should have been thought about, is all of this. So anyway, the ACC domino has fallen, and that league will be around at least for the foreseeable future. One of the things that we talked about in regard to all of the buzz and attention and positivity that came from the Stadium Series game on Saturday night was this tsunami that the Blue Jackets are on right now. It's young players all coming up and being good at the same time, being a year ahead of schedule at least in terms of what they have been from a production standpoint. They've largely stayed healthy, the young kids have, and so there's that part of it as well. So you have that. You had the Four Nations, which the world's attention was on that, and then you had the Stadium Series game. So there has never been more goodwill around the franchise than there is right now. There's the NHL trade deadline, which is coming up at the end of this week. It's actually Friday. And was listening to some of the coverage on ESPN over the weekend, and one of the things I want to say, Ray Ferraro, I think, said it, that normally this would be a sell time if you're Waddell, that you would sell, but they just don't know if they can do it with this team because of all that they've accomplished at this point. But they do have a glut in terms of too many good players that are roadblocking some of the young guys as well. So it's a really difficult needle for Don Waddell to be able to thread over the course of this week. Elliot Friedman, NHL insider, he was on with Rothman and Rimmer before the Stadium Series game on Saturday, had this to say about the Jackets' approach to the deadline.
I think that the Blue Jackets go from a position where they recognize their team deserves to be rewarded a bit. Not in the sense that you need to go out and do anything silly, but that the players deserve a chance to finish what they've started over the first 3 quarters of the season. There's been a lot of rumors this week that there's been progress made on Olivier. We still have a few days. We'll see where it goes. I heard they were supposed to speak again sometime towards the end of this weekend. We'll see where that goes. Provorov, I've heard it's been harder to get to a common ground. I always say that, Anthony, knowing at this time of year, one phone call can change everything, but it's been harder at this point in time. I know there are some teams that continue to scout Provorov in case Columbus decides to do anything there, but one of the things I really feel is that I think they would add as long as it either made sense for the future or the price wasn't prohibitive. I think they realized, trading for rental, bigger prices for rentals makes no sense for them. But like I said, I want to see if they can get Olivier closed. There seemed to be less optimism on Provorov, but there was an overall sense that the team deserved an opportunity to finish the job it started.
Beck, you're more dialed in on this than any of us. What's the dream week for you?
Well, let me just start by addressing a couple of the things he said there. Olivier is going nowhere. They're getting that contract signed. They want him to be a part of this long term. Now, if you believe the reporting that's out there, the Jackets and Provorov are not close on a contract. They are way off on terms here. Provorov wants to cash in, and that's understandable. My feeling on Provorov is if you can't get him signed, the value coming back, because you're getting a first-round plus for him the way he's played, he's got to go. But with that being said, you've got to make a move to replace him because Denton Matejchuk has been great, but we all know playoff hockey is a different thing. You're getting Branson back soon. I think the difference with Columbus now is if they were out of this, you would have seen the Sean Corrales, Justin Danforths, possibly, Zach Aston Reese, who they've already re-signed, Kevin LeBanc, who unfortunately is hurt now. Some of those kind of pieces go out the door, maybe a Jack Johnson, and you get those 4th, 6th, 7th round picks, whatever you can. Now you just keep those guys as rentals. The Provorov thing is different because there's such a return coming back. I do think the Jackets are going to add someone to play in their top 9 forward group. There was a lot of smoke about a Gus Nyquist reunion. We found out while we were at the shoe that he got traded to Minnesota again. So that's not going to happen. But look for the Jackets to get a guy that can get in on their 3rd line, maybe their 2nd line, a guy like that to come in. And if Provorov goes, look for them to bring in a defenseman to replace that.
There you go. Locked in.
What a spot to be in.
It's great. It's just great. Year ahead of schedule, at least on that. He was on the play-by-play internationally. He'll be on the play-by-play tomorrow night on the television side of things. He's Steve Mears. He will join us with his experiences at the Stadium Series game coming up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
1-800-GOT-JUNK is your friend with the truck.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
All our people are in uniforms.
And our trucks are clean and shiny.
And big.
We leave spaces empty and clean.
For you.
1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time to head on to the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline for some perspective on what was a very, very special night here in Old Columbus Town. He is Steve Mears. He is the play-by-play voice of your Columbus Blue Jackets of FanDuel Sports Network, and he joins us. He was the international play-by-play guy on the game on Saturday. Steve, thank you so much for taking the time. From your perspective, what was that like?
Well, the one thing that'll stand out, I think, for me is just walking in on the practice day and just seeing that whole scene. I hadn't been in Ohio Stadium in probably 20 years since I went to a football game there when I was in college. So, yeah, just to walk in and see that rink and to see all the different things that the league had put on to make it feel like you were just in this perfect outdoor hockey setting. And it was breathtaking. It was such a spectacle. And then to get things going right about game time, went down and to rinkside and was doing a local TV interview, and just to see the excitement and so many fans. They waited a long time for an event like this here in Columbus, and they were just so appreciative. And even in the weather, everybody was with the wind and with the cold, everyone was just having a good time. It was just the ultimate hockey party.
That's a great way to put it, Steve. You know, I've been here a long time, and you mentioned I don't think this works if the team isn't what it is. I don't think it works. I think you got to win. I don't know if we're looking at it quite as favorably if you don't get the win. There is a little bit of a hockey tsunami here coming off of the Four Nations and all of it. There is some momentum, and I think that momentum carries over to this team as well. I know the tickets went through the roof in the last month because of the way that the team was playing. You're there every day with this team. Did you think this team had this in it, and how critical was it that they are playing at the level they are to take full advantage of it?
I think they had the opportunity to exceed the expectations, which, as we know, were extremely low coming into the season. You just look at the names on paper, and I've known Zach Werenski for a long time. I think he had this potential, but to become possibly the best defenseman in the league here this year with the way that he has exploded. And then you look at some of the moves, like picking up a veteran guy going all the way back to the summer in like Sean Monahan, who has just been a solid pro and has been a 30-goal scorer and just a reliable guy offensively and defensively his entire career. That was a really smart pickup because you need centers, and Don Waddell did that. It was one of his first moves that he made. So it had the potential. You knew the young guys if they could take a step or two. But the issue is you don't usually see all the young guys in an organization take a step. But that's what we're seeing here with Marchenko and Fantilli and Ken Johnson and Cole Sillinger and now Denton Matejchuk on the blue line, who scored the big goal to open things up on Saturday. You usually don't see it all at once like this. It usually takes a lot longer with the young players on a team. So I've been so impressed by just the way the young players have elevated their games.
Steve, one of the things that's been, obviously the tragedy with Johnny, and you see Meredith in the second period intermission and what she did, and you saw what the Red Wings did. I just can't imagine, and you're around it every day, the balance of the incredible emotional toll that takes and probably continues to take. It's a reminder, and we had obviously a big one on Saturday, but also then pushing forward. How much credit? I mean, there's so much credit that goes around, but I think about Dean and just the veteran touch that he's had on all of this. What have you witnessed on that side of things in terms of finding the balance with all of that?
Yeah, Dean deserves a lot of credit, not just for the X's and O's and the coaching with this group, but to find that balance that you talked about and to keep things positive from the start of training camp. And he's had to. The organization, they have had to, because there's been enough sadness and negativity. So Dean came in, and he had this reputation of being this really intense guy, and we saw his intense looks on the bench with Minnesota, and I didn't really know him all that well. And it turns out that he is just an unbelievably bright coach who has an outstanding attitude, and he's the perfect guy to bring that positivity to this team and to lead the way. And to, of course, you need some discipline, and you need someone who's going to hold a high standard when it comes to how you're going to play the game. But to bring that personality and to bring a positive outlook every day to the rink and to remind the players just of how fortunate we all are to be working in this game. And Dean has just delivered the perfect message. But then the players deserve so much credit. I can't believe how many emotional nights. And Saturday was another one with the tributes to Johnny, but the home opener against Florida, the game in Calgary, which I did players starting the game with tears in their eyes. A guy like Sean Monahan, Johnny's best friend, who came here to Columbus to play with Johnny, to live on the same street, basically raise their kids together. And I just give him so much credit. There he was with the Gaudreaus, walking out, leading the team along with Eric Goodbranson. And I just thought of Sean and the emotional year that it's been for him. And he has persevered. And now he's persevering through an injury, and he's just been outstanding. So a lot of people deserve credit for this whole story, which has become the best story in the entire NHL.
It really has. Yeah. This is the NHL's, like, if your team's not playing, you root for the Blue Jackets is what's happened around the league, which is pretty sweet. You've been to a lot of these and you've called a lot of these. How do players balance? It's one of 82, but it definitely is not one of 82. How do they do that from your perspective?
I think they distinguish the skate practice day versus the game day. The message was treat the game like it's any other game. You've got business to attend to, and it's a huge game, by the way, against Detroit, of all teams, given the standings. And that added to all the anticipation and the enormity of the event because the game mattered. It meant so much, and that hasn't always been the case with the NHL outdoor games. But they had the chance, both teams did, on Friday, but especially the home team that has so many friends and family, relatives, and ticket requests and all that. Get that taken care of on Friday. Have the skate, have your kids out there, have the family members, and soak it all in. Take a look, enjoy the entire day with the practice, and just have some fun. But then when game day arrives, you better be ready to go because it is not just a 2-point game. I mean, this is a game against the team that's you're trying to track them down in the Eastern Conference standings. It's a rivalry game, and right now, it's at least last 25-plus games. Every game is a playoff game for this Blue Jackets team, and that'll continue tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Lightning and all throughout this road trip that we're about to go on.
Well, that's
every game is huge.
Yeah, man. That's talking to the great Steve Mears, play-by-play voice of your Columbus Blue Jackets. That's the thing that's crazy is you come off of this crazy emotion of going to Detroit and winning on a Thursday and then winning the Stadium Series game against Detroit, 2 games, and then all of a sudden now you're looking at Tampa Bay. You got the defending Stanley Cup champions who acquired one of your former teammates or a former Jacket and Seth Jones over the weekend. And then you got the Rangers and the Devils. So no need to rest on our laurels, kids. Like this is going to be just an incredible stretch here. Oh, by the way, trade deadline Friday, Steve.
Yeah, this is the Four Nations face-off, the outdoor game, trade deadline, and now the stretch run here in a playoff chase. So, it's one thing after another. Another thing, just looking back on my experience, and they'll have to guard against this tomorrow, and it is a real thing, the outdoor game hangover. The teams that play in an outdoor game, whether they win or lose, if they participate in a game, the following game, they have a losing record historically in NHL history. So that is one thing they'll have to watch out for. It's human nature, right? You have this huge event, huge game. It feels like it's a playoff series. It feels like you've played 7 games, and now you're playing a regular season game. I would think that because of the situation where the Blue Jackets are in this playoff chase, it won't be as strong as some other teams that just have this letdown, especially against maybe a non-playoff team. But that is a real thing, that the teams that play after outdoor games, it's a losing record, and they'll have to be ready to go. And even though there's a roof, and even though we'll be in sunny Florida, and obviously a tough opponent too in Tampa that's won, as of right now, won 8 straight. They're playing tonight, actually, so it'll be an advantage for the Blue Jackets. They'll be on a second of a back-to-back. But anytime you go to Tampa, it's a big challenge against the Lightning, and they are probably the only team that's hotter than the Blue Jackets right now.
Steve, how fun has this been for you?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's a lot of people ask me about that because I met so many fans at the game on Saturday when I was walking around and getting through the stands and everything. How's it been? How's the job been? And living in Columbus, and the team's success is the icing on the cake for me because I have no control over the wins and the losses. So that has been really fun. But the best part for me is just getting to be a part of the community, getting to know so many wonderful people, the way the fans have treated me, our neighbors, people that you see at the grocery store, people with my son's daycare and fellow parents, and also people that work in the organization, the front office. And it has been so special, such a special year. And also the players, too, the way they've treated me. I've been so fortunate. And there's a reason why this team is so close and they're having so much success. They're all just good people, and they're playing for each other. It's a special group. I've seen a bunch of team dynamics over the years, good teams, bad teams, Stanley Cup teams, and this is truly special. So just the way they treat each other, and then on a side note, the way that they've embraced me, welcomed me into the entire mix, and I'm just very fortunate. It's a wonderful place to live, as you know, and my family and I, we're just truly, truly loving it. And then to have an event like that on Saturday, that type of a celebration, it's just I was left speechless. I was lucky enough to broadcast the game, and even over 24 hours later, I'm just in awe of what we witnessed. It was remarkable.
Well, I think you and Jody have killed it all season long as well. So it's been great. Thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me. Great talking with you.
Yeah, you too. That's Steve Mears. He is the voice of your Columbus Blue Jackets on FanDuel Sports Network, and he joins on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We get 3 things on a Monday coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay, things people love.
Meet the new Monopoly Bonus Spectacular scratch-offs from the Ohio Lottery. Scratch off greenhouses to reveal winning numbers for a chance at over $113 million in total cash prizes. That's a spectacular amount of winnings. 5 games from $1 to 20. Multipliers from 5 to 100 times. Chance bonuses and top prizes up to $1 million. When you play the Monopoly Bonus Spectacular scratch-offs, what you find under a greenhouse could change everything. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Hi, welcome to IKEA.
Look at that selection of outdoor furniture.
Yeah, whatever your space or budget, you'll find a setup for outside.
How about an outdoor chaise lounge for my...
Get some sun side.
Yeah, and a table for my...
Come on over, I'm grilling side.
And outdoor lights for my...
Date night on the patio side.
Ooh, you're good.
I try. We've got what you need to create an outdoor oasis. Plus, delivery starts at $19 when you shop online or choose to pick up at your local store today.
Go to IKEA-USA.com for more details. Restrictions apply. Some products may require assembly.
The Reds are on the radio.
Long fly ball, deep left center field, way back. It is gone. This could be an inside the park home run. Ellie De La Cruz is on. He leaps and he caught it. 20 home runs on the year for Spencer Steer.
What will Terry Francona's 2025 Reds look like? Find out for yourself. Cactus League play is underway. Hear all the action on your home of the Reds.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Beds are us when dreams don't get in. Beds are us.
Breaking news. Ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
How high is your credit card rate? With rates as low as 9.90% APR, a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI Federal Credit Union is the perfect low-rate card for your wallet. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
I hope you're ready for all the Jackets talk you can handle. Join us Wednesday night at 7 for the Inside Edge.
Sponsored by Visit Central Florida. Discover the real Florida magic at visitcentralflorida.com.
The Fan.
Getting great deals at Meijer on the items your family loves makes shopping a good deal better. This week, plump and juicy red seedless grapes are $1.29 a pound. Certified Angus beef ground beef from Chuck is just $4.99 a pound. Purple Cow 48-ounce ice cream and frozen yogurt and select varieties of frozen novelties are just $2.99. And 12 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products are buy two, get one free, plus deposit where applicable. Get more and save more at Meijer. That's the good life. Exclusions apply. See all deals in store or in the Meijer app.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what are you on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit casterconnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists. Daily Fan Poll asks, the Blue Jackets embark on a 4-game road trip tomorrow. Tampa Bay, Florida, New York, New Jersey. How many points will Columbus amass? 0 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8 are your points options. 64% of you think the Jackets are going to get 3 to 4 points. 23% say the Jackets will get 5 to 6. 3% say 7 to 8 points. And then, ye of little faith, 8% of you 0 to 2 points.
So just for some perspective, 22 games left to play. The Jackets are 2 points ahead of the Red Wings for the final wild card spot, so they're the number 1 wild card team. They are 4 points behind the Devils, who they will play at the end of this road trip for being the 3rd seed in the Metropolitan, 6 points behind Carolina. But the Jackets do have 2 games in hand on the Devils, 1 game in hand on the Canes. So that's where this thing stands at this point. What's the minimum requirement? Not what we think they're going to do. What's the minimum?
Well, the past couple of years, it seemed like you needed 93, 94 points, somewhere in there, to make it into the wild card. It seems like the whole league is off that pace a little bit this year.
Yeah.
I would say the minimum is 22 points in those 22 games to get you to 90.
I mean this road trip.
Oh, on the road trip,
half, right?
I think you're at 4.
Yeah.
Especially with what Steve said about the outdoor game hangover. I would think you're at 4.
Yeah, get 4, and then you'll probably keep pace with where you're at. And honestly, that would be in line with what you just said, Bake, in terms of what's required to get into the postseason, which is basically a point-a-game pace, kind of where you're at. All right, time for 3 things on a Monday. Hit it, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
All right, number 1 for me, I had a kind of a throwback weekend when it came to my viewing habits. So I mentioned I watched Saturday Night Live with Shane Gillis. He was excellent. The show was excellent. So first time I'd watched that and been up that late for a very, very long time. Made all the way through Weekend Update, which is a rarity for me. Haven't done that in years. Then I watched the Academy Awards, and during the Academy Awards in break, I would flip over and watch Step Brothers. So it was kind of like a throwback weekend all around, which, by the way, Academy Awards juxtaposed with Step Brothers, that's probably the perfect example of how flipping can work and why I still think it's undefeated. That's as big a win as you're going to get. I did not anticipate it going that way, but a nice little weekend in terms of the television viewing.
I would give a lot to go back to Saturday and how enjoyable of a day it was from start to finish. I've obviously, if I could go back in time, I'd give myself plenty of hand warmers and maybe a blanket or 2. But there's a ton of people to thank for what I was able to be a part of. And we'll just first start off with that pregame show live on Lane Avenue with wonderful partners in Tyvis and Baker. I want to thank Fish, Jen, Scotty, Dan, Cam, everyone from promotions and the logistics of putting that together. It was a big deal, and I think everyone here at the Fan, including AR, including Jeff Rimmer, made it feel like the big deal that it was and sound like and look like the big deal that it was.
My first thing, I'll piggyback off of you, Reese. Thank you to our guests as well. Bob McGilligan walked over there in the cold and the wind to spend some time with us. Leah Welsh, Aaron Portzline, and we even got Jean-Luc Grandpierre. He just happened to be walking around standing there, and we were like, hey, when you're done with that phone call, come over here and hang out with us.
It's an example of what this station is all about. Really. And much like what I said about the city, when big opportunity presents, the city crushes it, the Fan crushes it. Number 2 for me, I saw this morning, and I just want to punch somebody in the face. Disney, the theme parks, are apparently, reportedly, going to move to surge pricing. It's over $2
How much?
to get into a ticket. At what point we just did this story like a month ago about how their attendance is way down because of the bang for the buck that people are getting and the cost of being able to go, and that basically price people out. Well, guess what? Guess when most people can go to the Disney parks? Spring break, Christmas time. And so now you're going to surge price them on that? It's just, how much, man? What? It's just outrageous. It makes me so angry. Like, the greed, I get it. Everyone's got to make more for shareholders, but my God, enough's enough.
Along with thanking everybody here at The Fan, thanking everybody, as Baker said, who joined us at Lane Avenue, I want to thank the fans. We don't do this. We can't do this without you. And so for everybody who gives however much of their time to listening to watching us on YouTube, it's so appreciated. Everybody that came by and said hi when we were on Lane Avenue, it makes doing this so much more worth it when we get to see and be with you guys in an event like that. And so the big Central Ohio group hug that was an experience I'm very excited to have for the rest of my life.
Talked about this a little bit earlier, but congratulations to Eric Reeser's Upper Arlington Golden Bear ice hockey team. They beat Olentangy Liberty yesterday 5-3 to move on to the OHSAA's Frozen Four next weekend at Nationwide Arena. Henry Thackeray scored the goal everyone dreams of with 17 seconds left, the game-winning goal to seal it for UA. I don't care what sport it is, Bo, there is nothing like when the kids go ballistic at the end of winning a big game, and sticks and gloves or bats and balls and whatever it is go flying.
Yeah, this will be the music playing means Jake Diebler's coming up relatively quickly here. This is a wonderful time. Banners hanging in basketball and hockey, all of this stuff. Get out there and watch it if you can, but going to be a fun month. March is here, kids. The madness will come with it. We are back tomorrow. Rothman Ice coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony, and I've got a fitting personalized for you. From the moment you walk in the Good Feet store, they're going to take the time to understand your unique lifestyle, your daily routines, and most importantly, the pain that brought you in to see them in the first place. If your feet ache after a long day or that discomfort starts radiating through your knees, your hips, your back, I've been there. The Good Feet store is going to help you where you need relief and find the arch supports that work best for you. And they're working for me. I walked all over the place in New Orleans covering the big game. I was loving it. I literally was walking for miles around the French Quarter, Canal Street, everywhere, because I had my personally fit arch supports in my shoes. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. I want you to be one of them. Go in, take the free test walk. They're immediately available. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, our EV trucking company is officially in operation.
Andrew's zero-emission trucks are driving the transportation category forward.
We'll make driving safer, easier, and less stressful. Now our technology needs to keep up with demand.
He needs to put pedal to the metal on hiring more software engineers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Carl. I'm 68 years old, and I lost 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. And looking at pictures, I realized that my color wasn't good. I looked bloated, constantly tired, out of breath. It got to the point where I decided it was time to pick up the phone and call Awaken 180. The combination of the diet and the coaching really pushed me over the top. My self-confidence soared. I'm walking. I'm working out. Instead of 68, I feel like I'm 28. I just had my annual physical, and my doctor looked at my blood pressure and he said, "What did you do? What happened?" And I explained that I'm on the Awaken 180 program. I've never felt so good in my life. And as somebody that sometimes likes to take the shortcut, I didn't have to do that with this program. Awaken 180 is my solution for weight loss.
Carl's solution for weight loss. My solution for weight loss. Scotty Vegas here. Lower blood pressure. Increase confidence. Feeling years younger. Want the same results? Then do what we did and make your own 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
Everyone has that one goal. That thing they want to prove. Not to other people, but to themselves. Then, right when you think you could actually do it, cancer. And that goal is still within reach. Oh no, I'm about to run my first ever marathon with my two best friends. 3 years after having cancer.
At least we look good in these shorts.
Woo! Let's get it, guys. You, keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Hey, it's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
And today, Pella's excited to announce our 100-year anniversary.
Cut! Leslie, you accidentally said 100 years.
Not an accident, Wilson.
What?
When you do the windows that look the best, you tend to stick around for a while.
I can't compete with that. Buy from her.
Get the windows that have been around for 100 years. The windows that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now boarding Group A. Please have your boarding passes ready to scan. If your phone is cracked, old, or was chewed up by your Chihuahua travel companion, please refrain from holding up the line. We ask that you kindly not be that guy, and instead simply go to Verizon and trade in any phone from their top brands in any condition on any unlimited plan for the new Samsung Galaxy S25 with Galaxy AI.
With new line on my plan. Additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing